Of course she's proud of the douche man. It is 5:45. I'm Danny Bonaduce, and this is KZOK. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Stupendous. How are you?
Are you being sexy?
She doing the filthy forecast already?
Yeah. Do you not hear when you do that?
No. What are you talking
No,
about?
seriously,
Not bad.
that was full on. Morning, Danny.
I'm stupendous.
Yeah.
How are you?
All right. Well, at least
Great.
you're
How are
stupendous.
you? Is that better?
That's annoying. What are you doing? For God's sakes. Good morning, Paul. How are
Good
you?
morning. I'm normal.
Unlike
her.
Nicely done there. So let's see. Of course, Shirley, what's Shirley Partridge, not Shirley Jones, because
Yeah.
that's what you do to an Academy Award winner. You call her the name of a sitcom, Moms for Life. But, I just saw her
When?
at
Oh,
the
really?
Patrick Cassidy thing over the last weekend.
Oh,
he was
cool.
doing a show, I told you, called My Normal Family Tree or some such thing. And Shirley was sitting there, and I arrived really late because I'm coming from Dante's thing. Not late, like I didn't walk in and the show had started. I made it because then you kind of wonder, even if it's in Thousand Oaks, and this Thousand Oaks is like, I don't know, Everett or something.
Okay.
It ain't the hotbed of Hollywood, but it was a nice theater. And I didn't want to walk in late, and I made it. I felt good about that. But most people were already seated, and I couldn't see no Shirley Jones, no how.
No?
And then Patrick Cassidy from the stage did a thing about his mom and being around the breakfast table with all these actors, which, was interesting, to be honest. That's quite the group of people. Jack Cassidy, which you younger guys don't really know that well, was
I don't
kind
know
of...
him at all.
Yeah, he's... you should Google him. He's amazing. He's this... not a good man. Not necessarily good. You don't want to be married to him, but you might want to have sex with him. You know what I mean? I know I did.
Isn't he dead?
Yeah.
Then I don't think I do.
In a fire. Yeah. So anyway, Patrick Cassidy says, "Oh, and there she is." Very important kind of dialogue. And there she is, right there, my mom, Miss Shirley Jones. And he goes, "Why don't you stand up, Mom?" And I go, "She's 85. If she didn't stand up, it's because she doesn't want it. Give her a break. Point at her, throw a light on her, but don't make her stand up." But last time I saw her, she was 84 and in fine health and running around and being very excited.
Yeah.
So she stands up. The play ends, and I'm standing around. I'm in the Shirley Jones "Kiss Your Ring" line, and followed by that, I'm in the Patrick Cassidy "Kiss Your Ring" line. Meaning, you guys were the greatest. Aren't you awesome? I flew in to support you because they don't know about Dante's thing.
Right.
I flew all the way to go to Everett, you guys. So be nice to me. But there was all this line. And I thought, I am not standing in a line to say, "Hey, Shirley, nice to see you," and have her go, "You look wonderful, dear." And I'd say, "You too." And that would be that. I'm going to text somebody and say, "Hey, make sure to kiss Shirley for me." But,
So you didn't wait?
no.
Oh, so you didn't actually talk to her?
No, not a second. Not even a
Aw.
how do you do.
She's your second mom.
No. So was Mrs. Brecky then, if anybody I spent 4 years around. But she played my mom. She had mom-like qualities. She grounded me once, which I thought was amazing. This is kind of a famous story that irks her because she says she doesn't remember it. And I'm thinking, well, you're old then because this totally happened. I was getting in trouble. People were yelling at me. Adults were yelling at me. And Shirley was standing at the bottom of the staircase. And Shirley points up the staircase and she goes, "Danny, you go to your room right now." And everybody, because she's loud. Shirley's like surprisingly loud. And everybody just froze because there's nothing at the top of those stairs. They go anywhere.
There's no room to go
They're
to.
fake stairs. They're not even stairs. They're
wow.
real stairs for about 3 stairs. And then they start getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And that gives the illusion of going up. So they don't even go up. I don't know why she's pointing up. She can point down. She can go sideways. Go to your room right now, which I thought was incredibly fun. So yeah, I guess she was kind of my... And I spent a weekend or two at her house. That's why I fell in love with Jack Cassidy and just his style. I said one time, I said, "We're doing some talk show, Shirley Jones, This Is Your Life." I don't know what it was. And I said, I have a child's memory of Jack Cassidy, but my memory of Jack Cassidy is that he's James Bond, but cooler.
Oh, yeah.
I said, I knocked on the door one day at 8 a.m. and he answered in a red velvet smoking jacket, a cigarette in a holder, and a martini in his hand.
Oh, wow.
And Shirley goes, "Oh, no, that's no child's memory. That's exactly how he answered the door at 8 a.m. So it's like, especially when you grow up to be a maniac, you think, look how well Jack Cassidy maneuvered being a maniac. So anyway, talking about Shirley Partridge being proud of me, which I will accept in this one. And that was in reference to I bought some school children, a baseball team, $1,000 worth of baseball equipment because somebody robbed them. I called in the news and I said, "Hey, that's a terrible story." You know what it turns out, and this is so weird, I'm like a good guy. I might even go so far as to say great or awesome or spectacular or angel-like.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I mean, we'd all say that.
Well, so I bought these kids $1,000 worth of stuff. I've done some other stuff, for charities all along the way. And this brings me up to something that I've been talking about a little bit, but I'm nervous, you guys, if you're out there in Radio Land, because you're, in my opinion, a spectacular group of people that listen to the show when it starts at 5:45 and before everybody else in the whole world sets their alarm for 6 a.m. It's us and it's you guys. So I know you've heard this a little bit before, but I'm a nervous wreck about doing it, and that is, of course, I'm shaving. Oh, my God. I'm shaving my head tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow's a big day.
Yeah. And, like, I keep thinking, get mad at your sister. Because I'm doing it because my sister got cancer and all her hair fell out, and I'm doing it to support her. I've seen a lot of people do it in the world. It's a pretty cool thing to do. I'm going to do it. And I think I can get out of this. I can just pick a fight because she'll fight over anything. She's so mean, my sister.
You love your sister.
I do love my sister. I love lots of nobody in my family. You can't just go, oh, they're sweet. You just can't. That's not the way Bonaduce's roll. They're not.
She was the nice one.
Oh, no. She's like the meanest one. I don't know that John can be, because John's the one that went back to school at 65 as a PhD to get a PhD as a senior citizen. Decided, you know what I need? I really need a PhD, or I'm just not going to get through the day. And he's a lay pastor. I don't know what he's up to with that. But you'd think he's not that nice either. But he's not mean all the time, like Celia, in one way or another. She's mad at something or doing something mean to somebody. John has to get mad, but then John will come to your house and set your house on fire because you made him mad, and he'll stand outside and tell you how this was your fault. That's like what it is to roll in the Bonaduce.
So you're the nice one.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, in a very weird way, I'm also the most normal one.
Really?
Yeah. I do things that a lot of people do. I drank too much, and my drinking too much and drugs led to jail a couple of times. And I say jail as in where they take you, you make bail, and you get out. I never spent a whole night. I talk a tough game. I've never been in jail for more than 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
When I'm bragging about what a tough guy I am, they say, okay, they call me Mr. Bonaduce in jail. How mad can they be at me?
Would you shave your head for one of your other siblings or just your sister?
Oh, all of them, but not because I like them.
Just because you think it's the right thing to do.
I think it's the right thing to do. And Paul was kind enough, and I thank you, Paul, to say, join me in this. You don't have to shave your heads, guys and girls out there at 5:45 now, 5:53. But Paul printed this up for me. If you are able to make a donation towards cancer research and patient support, we encourage you to do so. Did you come up with that yourself?
Yeah, with a whole sentence.
I would shave my head for you.
That's all.
Because you just said, see, you can go, if you feel like it, if you're going, hey, Bonaduce's going to shave his head, I'm going to give $6. You can give it to the Susan G. Komen Foundation. It's online at Komen, that's KOMEN.org. And of course, the American Cancer Society's website is cancer.org. How'd they get cancer? Not in that sense.
They were in first.
How do you get that? If I wanted Danny.org, I couldn't get it. No way.
Right.
I'd have to spell it with a U and a W and a silent G to get it.
But you're doing that tomorrow at 9 a.m.?
At 9 a.m., I am doing that. I'm surprisingly nervous about it because when my sister said I have cancer, and she said, I'm going to live. Don't worry. Don't flip out. I said, well, is your hair going to fall out? And she said, yeah, it is. And I said, well, I'm gonna shave my head to support you. And she goes, oh, well, that's a beautiful thing. You don't have to, which is, I almost said BS. But that's BS. I totally have to. I'm her brother. So, and then I let too much time go by. I am a nervous wreck. So there's a chance I'll back out. But theoretically, 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, bald as a baby's bottom.
A man has been arrested for allegedly attempting to kidnap a child from a First Hill apartment building. The child's father called 911 to report that his son had been playing in the breezeway of the apartment building on Boren Avenue when a stranger walked up to the boy, picked him up, and ran away.
Wow.
The father began yelling at the man, causing the man to drop the child and run off.
How old was this kid?
They did not disclose the age of the child. They just said it's clearly somebody young enough to be picked up.
But that's what I was going to say. As a dad, and I don't think you have to be a dad to know this, but I know it because I'm a dad. Try running with a kid under your arm.
Oh,
you know?
Yeah.
They wail, then they yell. My backpack doesn't yell.
Right,
a lot,
exactly.
depending on what I put in there. But you know what I mean? There's nothing easy about that. So I'm going deranged person.
Well, the dad was able to get such a good description of the kidnapper that when police arrived, they were able to capture him. So the man's in custody.
Was he nearby still?
He was still nearby. The cops got there in 3 minutes.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah, when I watch those bank robbery movies and they say, sting him up, and then they hit their stopwatch. We have 4 minutes left till they get here. I hear about cops getting there like in 90 seconds all the time to foil your high-tech plans.
Western State Hospital will lose millions of dollars in federal funding after a recent survey found it did not meet the standards needed to retain its certification. This is one of the largest psychiatric facilities west of the Mississippi. It's 147 years old. It's been under scrutiny for the past few years after several bad dudes escaped, wreaked a bit of havoc in our state. They went to do a survey, kind of like when you're a restaurant, somebody goes in and
like the health department comes in?
Yeah. They said some of the staff members did not know where the fire extinguishers were. Somebody did not know how to use the metal detector. They failed a whole bunch of different.
And where is this?
This is at Western State Hospital.
And you have, what does it say? You have the metal detector. That's hopefully new, that you need a metal detector at a hospital.
It's a psychiatric hospital, and it's, I think, people who are
criminals.
Criminally
This is
insane.
full of bad dudes. Some of these are very, very bad dudes.
Well, they're crazy. They can't help themselves.
You might remember, I think it was a year or two ago, 2 people escaped, and one of them, they had his picture everywhere, and he looked like the person you'd see in a scary movie. The deranged killer who escapes from a psychiatric facility and tries to kill everybody.
And then they had another escape like a couple of weeks later, and the escape was like, somebody left the door open or whatever. It wasn't
none of these.
I think
None of these escapees had like their big thing was a giant Who's-Its.
That was upstate New York.
Upstate New York. All right.
Well, in having lost their federal funding, that means about $53 million.
See, that doesn't make me feel more secure that we take $50 million away from the place that already.
Teach the guy how to use the metal detector, but don't take the $53 million.
The burden's gonna fall on taxpayers. They're losing federal funding, and so if they are going to keep this open, which it's full of, I don't know how many people, but a lot of people, they're going to keep it open. It's going to be funded by taxpayers. This is only one of 2 state-owned psychiatric hospitals for adults in the state of Washington, providing service to 20 Western Washington counties.
My goodness gracious. And there's a lot of crazy people in Western Washington counties.
Yeah.
Terrible story out of California yesterday. A firefighter was killed in the line of duty, and the circumstances are particularly jarring. Authorities suspect that a 77-year-old resident of a nursing home deliberately set off an explosion, then waited for firefighters to arrive so he could shoot them.
Ooh.
The resident of this building is, as I said, 77. He is behind bars this morning. Suspicion of murder and attempted murder and arson.
And no clue as to why?
No.
Wow.
Now, one firefighter did die. The other was injured but expected to make a full recovery. And they said the largest piece of the puzzle is trying to figure out why the heck did he do this?
Well,
because
no
motive.
He's supposed to end up at the hospital. Where they let you out every now and again, a psychiatric hospital. He's a lunatic.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is, they said it's calculated. They just cannot figure out why on earth this terrible crime would have been perpetrated. But as I said, one person thankfully did survive, and they'll continue to interview him and hopefully get to the bottom of it. Crazy story at an IKEA. A child sat down on a sofa and found something that wasn't supposed to be there. Turns out right before him, a man had walked into the store, 2:00 in the afternoon, sat down on the sofa. He's like, oh, this feels all right.
Can we guess?
Sure.
Meth.
No.
Oh, needles, heroin needles.
No.
Wow.
Tori, any guesses?
This game.
I don't know.
A cheeseburger. Tori guesses a cheeseburger.
Derek?
A woodchuck.
A knife.
All right.
Derek's the closest out of all of y'all.
Oh, really? I thought for sure Danny was.
But
right
I
with the
got it
woodchuck.
on Derek's clue, so I think you're the big winner, son.
You thought for sure it was a woodchuck, Paul?
Yeah, that sounded totally right. to me.
That's not what she has in her freezer, though, right?
No, hedgehog.
Hedgehog.
And salamander.
But it was none of those.
baby shark.
I do
Two
have
cats.
something in my freezer right now.
Really?
Oh,
what?
no. Did you kill your cat?
No, but my hamster died of old age and I had to stick him in the freezer.
Yeah, old age.
Tori!
Like 2 weeks. That's old age at Tori's
When did
house.
this happen?
This happened like a week ago. He's still in there.
Oh, my gosh,
Aw.
Tori.
Was he strapped to a treadmill when he had a heart attack?
No, he was really fat though. I just haven't had time to bury him.
Oh, Tori.
Wow.
How deep do you have to dig the hole? What is that, like a 4-minute process?
Well, where do I go? Do I just go to a public park and start digging?
Oh, that's
Your
right.
parents' backyard.
That's true. I need to go over there.
I like your first call. Some park. Just start digging.
Yes,
But
me too.
remember, before you dig, call 811.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hi.
811, yeah.
This is Tori, and I killed another one of my pets. It's in a freezer, but I want to put it in a park. Can I dig here?
Yeah, just like that.
They'll say no if you talk like that.
So
I can't
why
believe
this
she
guy
killed
leave his
another one.
woodchuck behind
Yeah.
at IKEA?
Yeah, okay, back to IKEA. So this dude goes and sits down to try out the sofa, stands up, does not realize that the handgun fell out of his pants. He gets up and walks away.
Right.
Then a bunch of kids sit down. One kid picks up the gun, pulls the trigger, pa-pow.
Oh. Pow.
He shot the weapon.
So it was already assembled. Because if it's at IKEA and you got to put it together, that's like a 3-hour process.
Yeah, no kidding. I thought he went crazy because he tried to follow those little footprints. I
yeah.
think lead nowhere. And that's, like, can I tell you, as a spokesman for crazy people, that can be unnerving, the footprints to nowhere.
Well, thankfully, the gun did not hit anyone. The trajectory hit no one. And the man did have a permit to carry, but IKEA has a no guns on the premises policy.
So does he ban from IKEA? No
Probably.
meatballs for you?
Yeah. This is Indiana, and they turned it over to their prosecutor for review. No charges yet, but I mean, what do you think? Does he get charges in your courtroom?
In the courtroom of Danny Bonaduce?
Yeah.
No, I don't believe so. Maybe like a fine.
Fine,
He
for
was all legal and stuff. He was just, reckless. I
Yeah, he's
think.
negligent.
So,
you
yeah.
should know where that weapon is.
All
at
right.
times.
$1,000 fine. You can't carry your gun for 6 months.
And no meatballs.
No meatballs for you.
On to Mexico. A political candidate was murdered, and those suspected of being involved include the town's entire police force.
Oh.
Wow. They hated that guy.
The federal
You know,
police.
when you think Trump is the worst thing that could ever happen, I was watching stories on the Mexico elections, and they all run around with bodyguards and stuff, and they even get killed in their own living rooms and at red lights by people on motorcycles.
Wow.
Because what they want to do is they're running on a no more drugs campaign.
Yeah.
And the cartels say that would be silly to let you in, and they kill everybody, those guys.
Federal police officers arrested 27 police officers in Ocampo in the Michoacan state.
Sure.
Not sure where that is.
Hey, was he shot?
Let's see. I don't see a method of his demise.
Because I'm thinking, how many times was he shot to indict 27 cops?
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I mean, it turns out the entire police force was corrupt to the point where they all said, we're murdering this guy because we
Wait
don't
a
want him.
second. Mexican police corrupt. No way.
Saudi Arabia appears to be moving forward with a plan to dig a canal that would physically enshrine its year-long rift with Qatar by turning the emirate into a peninsula. They want to make it an island. They said, we're sick of you. We're
Okay.
going to make you an island.
I'm not being a jerk face. I just learned this.
Yeah.
Technically, it's not an island. A peninsula is connected to land by one side.
Yeah, I think you misspoke, actually. It's a peninsula now. They're going to dig a canal to cut off the peninsula
Yes.
and make it an island.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't say that. That's
No,
what I'm
you
trying
didn't
to
say that.
Well, now I feel like a jerk. I meant to say I just learned this from, you know who I learned it from? Dante. Kid
really?
knows nothing, and he taught me what a peninsula is. Because I said, well, you know, the island of blah, and he goes, that's not an island. And I'm dying to smack that kid, but I never did it.
I don't know what came out of my mouth, but I believe I said turning it from a peninsula into an island. So
You believe you said
So,
that.
yeah,
just
you didn't say anything even close. You didn't say anything close to that, but I got what you meant.
Saudi Arabia moving forward with a plan to dig a canal that would turn Qatar from a peninsula into an island. They
Right.
want to separate it because they don't like each other all that much.
You want to keep it separated.
So they
I
want
just didn't
to.
want Derek to have to play that song. I just thought I'd
He's
do it.
playing your favorite song right now.
Spend some
Is this the one that goes, didn't?
Yep,
That is
that's the very
I was
same
going to
one.
say, you don't know my favorite song, but okay. So it's certainly my favorite Weezer song.
Well, they've been threatening to do this, and now it looks like they are going to move forward, despite the fact it'll cost $750 million.
Well,
Pocket change.
I don't think Saudi Arabia has that kind of money, do they? Oh, yeah, on them.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'll just write you a check. Horrifying footage from traffic cameras in China show a driver doing the unthinkable. Renter dealership. A person goes in there, rents a beautiful Ferrari 458.
Yeah, okay.
Now, it was raining.
$400,000, I think.
$660,000.
Wow.
It was...
It's those tariffs.
Yeah.
That's what it
Going
is.
up, yeah.
It was raining. It wasn't the best of days. And you get behind the wheel of that. Most people don't know how to drive them all that
Right?
well.
Yep.
Massive crash. Collides with a BMW, then a black Nissan, causing a massive pileup. The car is totaled.
Oh, bummer.
They drove right out of the parking lot into a massive accident.
I saw it on a $750,000 car, though. I saw it on World's Dumbest when I was doing that show.
Yeah.
A lady picks up her husband's surprise party birthday gift, and that is an AC Cobra, like a 64 AC Cobra, whatever they made those. The two-seater ones you see it in James Dean
Yeah,
movies. Stuff
nice
like that.
gift.
And she goes, yeah, except she pulls out of the party and hits the gas and just spins and then drives right back into the dealership, crashes into a bunch of cars, totals it.
Oh, that's awesome.
A shopping mall in Japan was the venue for the 12th World Chabudai Gaishi tournament
Yeah.
Oh.
that just happened days ago.
Did you qualify this year, Danny?
No, I
missed the cut.
wasn't quite chai-shi guy
Right.
enough.
I think we would all like to participate in this tournament, to be honest with you. What this is basically is a tea set smashing competition.
Oh.
So the way it works is, and again, this is the 12th annual, you shout out a phrase of anger, frustration, passion, or hope, and then you upend a small table and send it and all the contents flying.
Right.
So you sit at this little table and then you say something like, I deserve a raise. Why did my wife cheat on me? I'm better than this.
Because you didn't get a raise, by the way. You didn't bring home enough money.
And because it turns out you're not better than this.
Yeah, and then she had a yen for the other guy.
Well, then you upend the table
Right.
and send everything flying. Something like you'd see on one of the housewives of
that
something or other.
has been a big discussion in my house because we saw it. The Housewives of New Jersey, the one my wife likes, turned over a table in a restaurant. She goes, "Can you imagine?" And I said, "My sister's done that 10 times."
Oh my
Swear,
gosh.
You make my sister mad. That's the first thing that happens. She goes, "What happens?" And I said, "It's actually a very interesting way out of not paying for your dinner because they just want you gone."
Oh, that's great.
They don't sit around and go, "You owe me another $38.50." They just get out.
If you've ever wanted to own one of the world's largest collection of balls, well, the opportunity is here for you.
Yeah.
One man has amassed a whole lot of balls. 70,000 unique golf balls.
No, that's a lot of balls.
It is a lot of balls.
This is what he's spent his entire life collecting.
Well,
He
that's
is
sad.
90 years old.
What
His-
a waste of the last 30 years.
His wife recently passed and said
One of the golf balls, because that's got to hurt.
So some of these balls are probably 67, maybe 80 years old. He's been collecting these. They're old balls. You can get some of these old balls.
They're super old balls. He started collecting the balls in the 1940s.
Oh.
The only time he ever stopped was when he served in the military. He's got crates. He said there are no two alike. It's a magnificent obsession, he says. He said the nice thing was that his wife always knew where he was. I wasn't sitting in a bar. I was just out looking for balls.
Yeah.
I could never sell that. Listen, I'm not going to be around for great lengths of time, but I'm going to be somewhere, getting these balls, and it'll be all sort of nice and nothing wrong with it. And she would think you've bought a bunch of balls and you're sitting in a bar.
Yeah.
That's what she would think.
Absolutely. And she'd be right.
Yeah, of course she'd be right.
Well, if you'd like to own a whole lot of balls, Danny, they are for sale now, and whatever he makes money-wise is being donated to charity.
He's selling his balls.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird. I don't want them. Do you want them? Is it a thing?
I don't want them, no.
Maybe if it's some crazed golfer might want them.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe it's like a piece of history. Is there a golf museum? There has to be a golf museum, right?
Yeah.
So
With
they
the
should get them.
Wooden putters.
I don't know why that's a funny word.
I was thinking as I said it, I wonder if somebody will think I mean something besides wooden putters, because that's when they were old.
That's what you mean. We've heard a lot so far this week about the red hen.
Yeah.
Now,
By the way, can I point out there is a little red hen in Green Lake, right by the Green Lake. I'd like to make it clear, it's not there. They're wonderful people, good guys. You can go there, get a beer, get some fries, play guitar. It's a nice place. This is where is it?
This one is in Virginia.
It's in Virginia. Everything sucks in Virginia. It's a little redhead in Virginia, and they're terrible people there.
Well, unfortunately, the one here in Green Lake is not the only one with a similar name. The red hen in New Jersey is being bombarded with threats and abuse by Trump supporters who believe it's the same restaurant or at least affiliated with.
Don't be stupid. Think it out, because you're doing, in my opinion, you're kind of doing something good. I don't think there should be threats of any kind of violence, but I hate this place. I would pick it if I was in that town. I'd go out. I wouldn't say like I caught tuberculosis here or something like that on my sign, but I'd have something on my sign that implied this place is bad, even dangerous. Don't go here, because I think this was terrible what they did.
Well, it doesn't have any rules or anything, but that's not stopping people from being angry at this restaurant. But the Red Hen in New Jersey said it is nonstop. People are calling, swearing, threatening to burn us down. They have taken to social media to say the Red Hen in New Jersey is not affiliated with the Red Hen in Virginia. We are independent, family owned. We just share the name. And I'm sure there's plenty of red hens.
Yeah, like I said, there's the one here out in Green Lake. No, it's terrible.
Be curious to know if the one in Green Lake is getting that or if people here are just smarter.
And then I'll bet they're getting it. And I think people here are smarter, but there's a wide expanse of Seattle turning into Washington State, and not all of us are as smart as others of us. Paul said that, by the way. But the thing is, because I forget the name of the lady. She's a representative, I believe, and she's the one that all this started with. She's going, if you ever see anybody from this cabinet, you harass them, you shout them down. If it's in a restaurant, I couldn't believe that she was saying that at a gathering, saying essentially go attack people who believe things differently than you. I thought that was out of line completely.
Her and Trump have been going back and forth in such high school fashion.
Yeah, but that's not Trump.
Now.
That's somebody going to dinner.
No, he says horrible things about
her. Low IQ loser. I saw it. Again, it's not a physical attack.
And it's time for today's Things Are Not Right in Florida Story of the Day.
Yay! I changed it up.
That was great.
Thanks.
A pet spider monkey attacked a woman outside a Home Depot in Okeechobee.
Well, then kick its ass. It's this big.
It has now been involved in another attack at the same store. Tina Ballard took her little spider monkey with her to the store as she shopped. And this little spider monkey attacked somebody. And she said, what's the big deal? She just wants a hug. The Home Depot employees said, you'd need to leave now. She did. Several days later, she goes back and there's that pesky spider monkey sitting in the shopping cart. And then it decides it really does want a hug from the cashier. But apparently this hugs very aggressively, using nails. And
well, that's not a hug.
No. Scratched the heck out of the person trying to check her out. They called the police, and they said even though she was on the leash, it ran away, managed to make its way back to the truck, broke a whole bunch of stuff on its way out, and now this woman is facing charges.
Does a spider monkey weigh an entire pound?
I would say a couple of pounds. Yeah, maybe
but the tiniest,
6-8 pounds. They're pretty small.
No, it can't be 6-8 pounds, really?
Is that the one your grandma had, Paul?
My mom had one, actually. But
spider monkey?
But I'm thinking it's got to weigh about what my chihuahua weighs, right?
See, I say no. I say they're the kind that hug your finger. That's what I think.
That's not a spider monkey.
It's not?
What is that called? A squirrel monkey?
Oh, I think you might be right.
Yeah, I think so.
These things could weigh 90 pounds now. I don't know.
It can go anywhere from 5 pounds to 20 pounds.
Oh, heavens.
Wow, that's a crazy monkey.
They are pretty small still, though.
This particular monkey singing was like, what, 11 pounds? 5 foot nothing?
Yeah.
Oh, Florida.
Oh, Florida.
We need to take a very short break and get prepared for music news, entertainment, and sports. Some of the big stories. Well, a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Thank you. It's been a long time coming.
Kind of big update here. An unusual update to this year's Farm Aid concert. Would you
They're
like...
finally going to cut me a check?
Yeah.
I've been waiting for it.
You are a farmer. Do you want to hit a Mariners game on us? You can win your tickets next in sports. Starting with some music news. Remember, we are giving you a chance to win tickets today to see John Fogerty at Chateau Saint Michel. That happens at 7:20 this morning. It's a time of year for a lot of concerts and a kind of unusual announcement. Farm Aid appears to be heading to Connecticut.
Well, that's super weird.
Very weird because it's always been down south or in Illinois. The very first Farm Aid was held in Champaign, Illinois, 1985.
Wow.
And now they say September 22nd, it will be in Hartford. Farm Aid board members Neil Young, Willie Nelson, John Mellencamp will be there alongside Casey Musgraves, Chris Stapleton. A whole lot of different country artists will be taking part.
And that's standard, right? It's usually country artists.
Yeah.
Maybe a smattering of rock and roll.
Yes. I mean, back in the day.
Ballet, cloggers, but mostly country acts.
In 1985, Bob Dylan, Lou Reed, Don Henley, Johnny Cash, Billy Joel.
Right on.
So it did have some more rock-leaning people, but this time around, they said it's very country-leaning. Since it's been staged, they have raised over $53 million for family farmers.
That's not bad. Although, how long has it been going on?
85.
Quite a while.
That's quite a while. $53 million bucks. Half of those acts have it on them.
It was not every year. Farm Aid has never been every year since 1992.
So farmers aren't hurting every year?
You know, I think they started it as a one-off.
Oh, really?
And then we're like,
I think so too.
This is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Let's keep doing this. I'd imagine it's not cheap to put on
Oh, I bet not.
with all those different acts.
Well, the acts can't possibly be getting paid, are they?
I doubt it, but you still have to pay for production
and
costs.
their buses and their tours and their riders and their M&Ms and whatever they're doing.
A recording studio in Detroit that once welcomed artists like Aretha Franklin and Miles Davis was targeted for demolition, but now they decided they're going to put it up for sale, and that list price is $1.5 million.
Well, what you want is $1.5 million.
Well,
That's what you need.
Yeah.
$1.5 million.
Otherwise, they won't respect you.
The studio was founded by Italian violinist and recording engineer Jimmy Siracusi.
Yeah.
He got the first single for Tamla Records, the label that would eventually become Motown.
Yeah. I've had the great pleasure being in there. I used to, I lived there for a while, and that was one of the things. It was like a tour you could take. It's weird that it's going up for sale.
And weird that they had slated it for demolition. That but property values all around there have dropped
Just
so low.
Boom, so low. You'd think, and I thought this before, when I moved there in 96, 95, somewhere in there were houses. There was the Russian friggin' embassy. And it looked like a castle. It was crazy, the stoneworks and stuff like that. And it was for sale for $185,000 or something. It looked like a $20 million castle. Oh, wow. And I thought, you should buy this whole street, blah, blah, blah. Those property values have actually gone down since then.
Insane.
Wow.
Well, in this case, the state was going to demolish the building, but then it got a historic marker. And that's from a nonprofit that said this is a part of Detroit history.
Yeah,
Cool.
and it is, really.
And it is. So you could buy it for $1.5 million. You do not have to keep it an engineering studio, but you should.
But you can't alter its appearance on the outside, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But in the inside, you don't have to make it a recording studio. You can close that door.
Oh, you can make it a Johnny Rockets and play these kind of songs all day, and people come in, you get a burger.
Yeah.
A star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Thank you. It's weird about what category. I don't even know. Well, what did they finally give me, radio or TV?
I have bad news for you, Danny.
You do?
I do, unfortunately. The Hollywood Walk of Fame, the Chamber of Commerce, announced the class of 2019 yesterday, and I do not see your name on this list.
Bastards!
So they just do that? They put out the whole... Because I thought they'd dole them out. Every couple of months, they give out another one or two. They put the whole list out 6 months in advance?
And this is weird. Got in a little discussion with my wife because I just thought she was wrong. I mean, I didn't mean to be a jerk about it and go, you're wrong. I said, this doesn't sound right. Do you have the amount of people that they said are going to get a star?
I have the entire list.
Does it say how many?
I'd have to count them.
Well, it's in the ballpark of 20?
More.
More, okay.
Wow.
And Amy says, oh no, they get their star that year. They'd be giving a star away every week.
This is all for next year. Every single person I have on this list is getting a star next year. This is 2019, but the dates that they get the physical star have not been announced yet. So the Chamber of Commerce says they call it the Walk of Fame Class of 2019. Going in for film, Alan Arkin.
Yeah.
Kristen Bell.
No.
Daniel Craig, James Bond.
Yeah.
No.
Robert De Niro.
Yes.
Yeah.
How does he not have one already? Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah.
Anne Hathaway.
No.
Lupita Nyong'o.
Yeah.
Tyler Perry.
But only because of her story. To be honest, she's 12 years old.
Yeah.
You know, she just she's from Africa, from a tough place in Africa. Okay. And you won the Academy Award, you can have one.
And Gina Rowlands.
Did you just
also
skip
talented.
over? You said Tyler Perry, but we didn't get to vote on it. I vote no.
Well, what's
But-
the category?
Film. He's made millions of dollars
he's
at the box
made-
office.
yeah.
But they're terrible.
I don't think you can vote that way because then
You
what are you
can't?
going to do about like rock and roll? A lot of songs are just absolutely terrible, and you can't go, well, you know, we'll give one anyway.
Someone who is getting, or people who are getting a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in the television category.
I'm not, by the way, I did not nominate myself in the television category this year. I went radio.
Well, I don't think you're going to like who's getting them in the television category.
All right, I'll tell you if I do or not.
Alvin and the Chipmunks.
In a way, yes, to be honest. Certainly paid their dues. That's hard
Sure.
to do. They've been around since I was a child. Yeah, okay.
Sid and Marty Krofft.
A little less than Elvis and the Chipmunks. They did weird shows, but all right.
Candace Bergen.
Yeah.
Terrence Howard.
Who's that?
He's on Empire.
Is he a grown man? Does he, in my
He's a
category,
grown
does he
man.
deserve one?
He was in the first Tony Stark movie. He's a man of color with really light green eyes. Handsome fella.
All right, he can have
But he's
one.
a star of Empire right now.
I'm giving him one on his eyes alone, though.
He's good, very good, nice eyes. Candace Bergen.
Yeah.
Stacy Keach.
Yeah.
Lucy Liu.
No.
Mandy Moore.
No.
Diane Wiest.
Yes.
Guy Fieri.
So no, I can't stand
No.
it. I can't. Sugar Ray's dad is getting a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
And a posthumous star for Julia Child.
Well, then totally yes. Although she was a cook, but all right.
All right, so there's a huge list of people who are getting it in the recording category. Michael Bublé, Cypress Hill, The Letterman, Faith Hill, Tommy Mottola, Pink, Teddy Riley, Dolly Parton, Linda Ronstadt, Emmylou Harris.
Yes to most of those.
Yes, to most of them. Yeah.
Then for theater, we've got Idina Menzel, Cedric the Entertainer, Judith Light, and Paul Sorvino. That is theater and live performance.
I'll go for Servino on that one, yeah. All right.
Nobody is getting a star next year for radio.
That's one of the two ways Amy and I were discussing stuff. One is that I didn't think all these people could get a star within 1 year.
Yeah.
They'd be giving it out 2 a week. And we are aware of them because Sarah goes, I had a star on the Walk of Fame, and I get my hopes way up, and then they're dashed against the rocks of despair.
But now you don't have to do that for a whole year and a half.
I might withdraw completely.
Oh.
Yeah, it'd make me sad, but I'll be all right. Because
I'm
you know
sorry.
what? I think in 10 years or so, I'm going to retire to Palm Springs.
Yep.
They have a Palm Springs Walk of Fame, and I think all you have to do is buy one.
There you go.
Or you have to give the money to charity, but it's, I think, the same thing.
Yeah.
We're getting an update to the drama surrounding Heather Locklear.
Yeah.
Now, you remember yesterday we've got the breaking news that she had been arrested. Well, she was released from police custody yesterday afternoon. She had been arrested for allegedly attacking a police officer and an EMT who had responded to a disturbance call at her residence. A jail official says when Heather Locklear rolled on into jail, she looked disheveled and that she seemed, when the arrest was done, to be extremely intoxicated. Now we are getting word she is back in the hospital for treatment. We do not know what that treatment is.
Well, unless she burst her appendix, it's mental.
Yeah.
It could be substance abuse or addiction. We don't know which is. Is she going into the hospital for mental treatment or for substance addiction?
I'd sign her up for both, I think.
Well, the thing is, if they let her out of the loony bin, this has to be voluntary.
Her going to the hospital?
Yeah.
It does appear to be,
It does appear to be voluntary? All right. Good on you, because it just seems when you're a beautiful woman and you've had such success. Very few actresses are as successful as Heather Locklear. I bet she has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and probably rightly so. She had 2 series playing different characters at the same time, and then had 2 series playing the same character at different times. That's, you're really pulling off the Hollywood dream, kid.
Richard Harrison, known as Old Man on Pawn Stars, died yesterday at the age of 77.
It's a bummer. I love that guy. He was like just the right amount grumpy.
See, I didn't love him.
No?
I thought like he wasn't in on the joke a lot, that he didn't understand what was happening around him. And
really?
For 77, he was an old 77.
Yeah.
Like 77 seems to be a young person these days if you can afford to take care of yourself and have a decent doctor. His health seemed to be questionable most of the time.
I would have thought you liked him. He had style. He had a little
I did like I liked the
flash.
way he dressed. I liked his car a lot,
Yeah.
and he wouldn't drive anything else. Yeah, no, I just felt, not that he was in any way being abused, but I just felt he didn't always know what was happening.
Yeah.
Kevin Smith got some bad news yesterday. Kevin Smith, who has been dieting and taking care of his health after having a massive heart attack. His show on AMC, Comic Book Men, was canceled yesterday after 7 seasons, 96 episodes.
Wow.
Because of the weight loss, they just couldn't see a skinny guy doing that show.
You lose your comedy when you get skinny.
And you know what's weird is 7 seasons, but only 96 episodes. Something's wrong there mathematically.
That's how a lot of the cable channels do them. They do 8 to 12 episodes per season.
Well, it seems like very few. But you know what? I thought that that show, he's sitting there with a bunch of comic book geeks in a jersey and his hair backwards, his hat backwards, and I thought, this guy's a really talented guy, but maybe he was making a buck at doing what he loved, and now he's not.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at sports.
Sports.
Sports brought to you by Bradley Johnson Attorneys. If you're facing a DUI, call 1-800-DUI-AWAY. That's 1-800-DUI-AWAY. The Mariners, Baltimore, last night in Baltimore. Crazy game, crazy ninth inning.
Yeah, it got wild. So Baltimore reliever Darren O'Day was called for a balk, which if you don't know what that is, that's a pitcher making an illegal motion. He didn't like the call. He started arguing. The home plate umpire got angry and threw him out of the game. The Orioles manager jumped into the fray. He got his butt ejected from the game.
I thought they were going to fight.
It looked like it. They looked like they were getting very heated out there, and things got nuts. But it was a good day for the Mariners. D. Gordon had a great day. He gave the Mariners an early lead in the 2nd inning with a 2-run single. And then in the 7th inning, he laid down a beautiful bunt that gave the Mariners the lead, and they got the win from there. They held on to it, and it was great. Nelson Cruz also got some nice honors. He was awarded the AL Player of the Week because for this week he was hitting 500 for the batting average, 3 home runs, and 8 RBIs. So go Mariners. They turned it around.
Well, that was great, Derek. Thank you very much for that report.
D. Gordon looked so good during this game. He just, I don't know, sometimes you watch baseball players that don't look like they care that much. D. Gordon looked like he was loving every second of playing baseball.
The guy always has a smile on his face, and he's like always hustling.
That's why Ringo was my favorite Beatle. Because he looked, everybody else was growing their beards and growing their hair and looking solid, and he had this big, ridiculous grin on his face like, can you tell that I'm a Beatle? That's pretty cool.
Yeah, D. Gordon just all about it. And the Mariners looking like we needed them with a big win yesterday. So the Mariners do continue their road trip, playing the Orioles again. 4:05 start time on Root Sports. If you would like to win tickets to an upcoming home game, you can call us right now to play an in-studio version of Mariners KZOK Music Trivia. We are going to play you a little clip of a song. If you can tell us the title, the artist, and the year it came out, you will win tickets to an upcoming game. Derek, play the clip. All right, you think you know it? Call right now to win. 800-252-1025. Artist, song title, and year it came out.
All right.
On the mound today, Big Maple, James Paxton.
Nice.
Kevin Gausman. Big Papi is back making baseball news. He is not coming out of retirement, but 10-time All-Star David Ortiz has signed on as a full-time analyst for Fox Sports, and he'll make his debut during the 2018 MLB All-Star Game.
Has his English improved?
You know, it's funny. His English sometimes I think is really good, and other times I think, wow, where did that go? Like, you had this great grasp of the English language.
Yeah, because I see him in a commercial, and to do the TV commercial on film, he had as many takes as he needed to get it just right. And his accent's really thick still, which is, fun. I understood absolutely every word he said, but a commentator, I'm not sure.
His accent is quite thick, but what he has to say is usually pretty hilarious and insightful because he played for so long and for several different teams. Alex Rodriguez has, to me, a little bit of a speech impediment.
Yeah.
And he's been doing great.
He has been doing great. They've been having a lot of luck lately in both baseball and football with former players coming in and just nailing it.
Very true. So he'll be joining Alex Rodriguez and Frank Thomas. And as I said, you'll see Big Papi at the MLB All-Star Game helping to call that. Most hotel guests who check in and check out, but not at Milwaukee's famous Pfister Hotel.
Ow.
It's a Pfister.
I am not staying at the Pfister Hotel. I don't care what you say.
Well, according...
Oh, is it slang for jail?
No.
Oh.
This is a very famous hotel in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
They say some people who have checked in never check out because it is haunted. So much so that oftentimes big league teams who stay there when they play the Milwaukee Brewers talk about the terrifying things that happen. Clint Hurdle once had to comfort a Pirates player who was scared while staying there. Jin Man Choi said he absolutely had paranormal events. Carlos Gomez heard voices. And now, most recently, Carlos Gomez posted a video to Instagram and said, I couldn't sleep because there was a free-floating, full-torso, vaporous apparition in my room. And Marcel Ozuna said the same thing. They all got together and shared a room for comfort.
This is just, are you kidding me?
These are baseball players.
Yeah.
They might want to hang out with Rockies pitcher John Gray, who reportedly hunts ghosts in his spare time.
He haunts them.
Hunts them.
Well,
like
they're
Tory.
here. They're at the hotel.
Yeah, he doesn't have to hunt too
hard. The guests
hard.
check in, but they don't check out.
Tori, I found some friends for you.
I was just going to say, I want to hang out with these guys.
Yep. John Gray with his dowsing rod. Him and Tori going to look for ghosts.
At the hotel.
Yep.
Where all the Major League Baseball players shared a room because they were scared.
Right.
The Storm tonight play the Minnesota Lynx at 5 o'clock. In World Cup action yesterday, Saudi Arabia beat Egypt 2-1. Uruguay beat Russia 3-0. Iran tied with Portugal, and Spain tied with Morocco.
Oh, that's good for Danny. That means Spain moves on. So
Okay.
now they're into the knockout round.
There you go, Danny. You're still alive. Am I still alive? Who did I pick?
You picked Germany. They still have to see the results of the rest of the matches.
Okay. Well, today we've got Australia, Peru, and Denmark versus France at 7. Then later this morning, Nigeria versus Argentina, Iceland versus Croatia. Those matches are at 11. As we told you, the Mariners on the road playing the Baltimore Orioles, 4:05 start time on Root Sports. But we've been playing in-studio Mariners KZOK music trivia. Derek, play that clip again for us. All right, we all know it's Pearl Jam.
Yeah.
We all know it's Jeremy.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
You didn't know the name of the song?
Of course I know the name of the song, but my mind was finished. I'm listening going, oh, man, what is that? Don't call me daughter. What the hell's going on there?
That is Jeremy. As always, it's the year that messes us up. I was off by a year. Any guesses?
Yeah, 2002.
No, that's a little too recent, I think. 1993, 94.
You two are off by a year. I thought 91. It is 92.
Wow.
Jenny
I
in
was off by a
Bremerton,
lot.
however, she is the Pearl Jam expert. She knew Jeremy came out in 1992. Jenny's headed to the Jeep winner's window in our lobby to pick up tickets to what, Derek?
Jenny won tickets for the game on Saturday night at 7:10 versus the Kansas City Royals, which just happens to be Turn Ahead the Clock night.
Turn ahead the clock
The
nine.
future is back on Saturday night when the Mariners turn ahead the clock versus the Royals on the 20th anniversary of the original event. The Mariners will don futuristic threads, and the first 20,000 fans will receive a futuristic Mariners cap courtesy of Alaska Airlines. Blast off to mariners.com for tickets.
All right, next chance to win tomorrow morning at the same time. I can't wait to see those.
Tongue.
What?
I hurt my tongue.
You were
trying
so
to make-
excited about Turn Ahead
Derek
the
said
Clock
turn
night?
ahead the clock night and made a weird thing, and I went turn ahead the clock. Now, and I just my tongue blew up.
Oh,
on
wow.
earth.
Did you bite it?
No, I'll be fine, folks. Boy.
Great.
Sports brought to you by Bradley Johnson Attorneys. If you're facing a DUI, call 1-800-DUI-OA.
That's 1-800-DUI. If you get a DUI in the state of Washington, don't kid around, guys. automatically they're super mad at you. You'll lose your license. You could even spend a weekend or two in jail. What you need is a great lawyer. Call 1-800-DUI-AWAY. They'll meet in Seattle, Everett, or Tacoma. So if the unfortunate happens to you, don't delay. Call 1-800-DUI-AWAY. That's 1-800-DUI-AWAY. Alrighty, so coming up in just a little more than 15 minutes or a little less than 20 minutes, depending on how you look at things, we're playing a new game. It's called Fogarty or, and I didn't like the way I said Fogarty. I'm going to try that. There's an R in it I did not pronounce. Fogarty or, that's the way to play the game. Play it at 7:20 and you can win tickets to see John Fogarty at the Chateau Saint Michel.
A lot of people this week talking about that woman who went jogging in British Columbia and wound up accidentally crossing the border into the United States.
Yeah.
And then next thing she knew, she was in Tacoma in the custody of Homeland Security. Now, she got lost, and it's not like there was some big red flag and some big white line on the ground that said, "You are now in America."
And you would think there would be.
Yeah, but there's so many remote areas that there isn't just some line that, like, think if you were to be in Montana.
Right.
There's not a white line that shows you where all of a sudden it becomes Canada. There's a whole lot of forest.
Yeah.
No, but there is that crazy place where there's 4 states and there's actual lines in the sand that show you one foot's in Arizona and the other foot's in Utah. They got that, right?
Well, so you want somebody to just go with like one of those markers, that little white paint machine?
No, I just think you should make it harder to make that mistake if you're going to arrest a lady.
The problem was twofold. One, she got lost and wound up in America, but mostly she didn't have ID on her.
Right.
So she couldn't prove who she was. And so they said, well, you're here illegally. You can't prove that you're from here. You're speaking a foreign language. Let's go.
She's speaking a foreign language?
She was French.
Nobody told me that part.
Visiting mom in British Columbia.
Now put her in prison.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Or the Bastille. I don't know, but do something terrible to her.
So a good chunk of Canadians also speak French. So.
Yeah, I've heard that. Like I was in Quebec one time, a bunch of them were speaking French. I thought it was so weird. I said, "Go home," and they said, "We are home."
Well, I mean, everybody has been lost, but sometimes it can lead to something really good happening, or sometimes there's something really bad, like in the case of getting arrested.
I bought possibly the coolest home I ever bought because I was lost.
Really?
I got off the freeway. I just moved to Chicago. I was totally lost. Didn't know where I was. I was about an hour out of town, so kind of nowhere, Naperville, that kind of place. And I turned, and there was a house that I looked, and I thought, that place is out of my price range, because I had a big for sale sign right in the front yard.
Yeah.
It said 5 acres for sale. And I had no idea how big 5 acres was, so I thought the front yard was 5 acres. Front yard was 2.5 acres. This place was crazy big, gigantic, brand new construction, libraries, all that stuff. And it was $1 million less than I thought it would be. And I bought it, and I wouldn't have done it had I not been lost somewhere in Naperville.
That's cool.
Or Barrington Hills, or wherever the hell it was.
Well, you guys listening, when did getting lost lead to something really good or maybe something really bad for you? We'd love to hear your story. Call us 800-252-1025 or text 90627 now.
So a woman goes jogging in Canada, and we decided to arrest her because she was speaking French. Apparently, there were more things than that. She might have crossed into America accidentally, yet illegally, but she was lost. When did getting lost lead you to something good or even to something bad? Here's the number to call. It's 1-800-252-1025, or you can text 90627.
I get it, especially going out jogging to get lost. I've been lost dozens of times while out jogging.
And you weren't ever detained for 2 weeks by immigration and customs?
No, and because I've never illegally crossed a border.
Right.
Or if I did, I then backtracked to the country I was supposed to be in.
I've accidentally.
Really?
Yeah, well, I don't know if it was accidentally crossed a border. I was in a part of Mexico I didn't understand and crossing a border I didn't really know. And there are lines to get in to get back into America. And this one was, you couldn't even see the traffic. And I said, I'm getting in that one. And it was in lane 2 or what it is. It's where they send you. If they think you did, they're going to send out the dogs and the bomb squad and everything and their brothers. And I said, just relax. I'm going to explain that I was lost. And they recognized me. And they said, because they're Americans on that part where you're going out, going into America, they recognized me. They were super cool. And then I started getting nervous. And Amy and I were just talking about this last night. She said, you started to dance for no good reason. I said, well, I was probably kind of, trying to act casual. And she said, well, you didn't. You looked crazy. And they were nice to me, but we were there a very long time when they did mirrors under the car. I mean, rules is rules, much like why we grabbed this lady.
Yeah.
800-252-1025. When did getting lost lead to something good or something bad for you? Let's hear Edward in Bremerton's story.
Hey, Edward.
Hello.
What's up, man?
How are you doing?
We're doing great. What do you got for us?
When I was 5 years old, I got lost in Disneyland.
Whoa.
Okay. Absolutely terrifying.
Yeah.
And
5
awesome
years.
at the same time.
I don't know if was it awesome or was it scary?
It was scary. I was in the guard sack all night long.
Yeah.
Aw.
See, I think it would be terrifying because there's people with wearing mouse heads and palaces and waterworks and stuff. I'd be a wreck.
And just so many people.
And
It's
yeah,
so big.
Since I was a little kid, now, but everybody else has this too that's been to Disneyland, and that is mom and dad would tell you at some point, if anything happens, get to the castle, and we'll meet you there. If you're lost, get to the castle. And it's terrifying.
And so eventually, if you're, at a place like that, staff's going to come up, notice you're an unattended child, and then they're going to say, come with me, little Edward. And Edward's going to freak out too because you're told, don't talk to strangers, don't go with people.
800-252-1025. When did getting lost lead to something good or something bad for you? Paul, has this ever happened with you?
Yeah. Do you guys know Warped Tour, the music festival, touring music festival? So I got lost at Warped Tour. I mean, I knew I was at the Gorge, but I just got separated from my friends. This was 2000, and I just got separated from the group that I was with, and I was looking around trying to find the people I was hanging out with. And so I decided to just go sit up on the ridge up above, looking down at the stage, and I went up and sat down on the grass. And I look over, and Dickie Barrett from the Mighty Mighty Bosstones is sitting next to me, just by himself, like watching the band. So I struck up a conversation with him, and I just sat there for like 20 minutes and watched a concert with Dickie Barrett. So
That's
it's pretty
awesome.
cool.
Super nice guy, and he ended up the musical
really nice.
director for one of the late night talk shows, but he had a morning show in Los Angeles on this alternative station that didn't have many listeners, and you couldn't hear it more than 5 miles out of town or whatever. So they said, listen, it didn't work out, but thanks for being here. You were the great morning show. And he went on the air and he said, I want you to riot in the streets.
Really?
They're letting me go, and I want my fans, and never use the word fans by your own stuff. I want my fans to pick it outside, and nobody showed up, and he felt like a total idiot.
Wow.
Yeah, poor Diggy.
Well, he didn't call for any riots when I was hanging out with him. He gave me a beer, though, and I was 20 years old. So
That's fun.
How do you know it was him? Did you recognize him?
Yeah. So, I mean, he had just been on stage like 3 bands before, and I knew him, one of my favorite bands. But yeah, so Dickie Barrett contributed to the delinquency of me as a minor.
I like it.
Because I got lost at Warped Tour.
When did you get lost lead to something good or something bad? We're asking this because a woman went jogging in Canada, wound up in the United States, and then went to Tacoma.
Right.
And not to go to Sonic, to go to detention.
It just seems like such a weird call. You've crossed the border here, you're going to end up in Tacoma?
Yeah, but
weird.
I mean, give her some information. Tell her, hey, that was the border you crossed.
Right.
This is the side you're supposed to be on, and let her go on her way.
Let her go.
That never happens, though.
No, I
When
mean,
you get to the
Danny's
border.
right. Rules are rules.
Rules are rules.
The Border Patrol is not, the most laid back, and they shouldn't
Not
be.
at all.
No, and remember, it's like, because when you start thinking about this, everybody gets it backwards. Like going into Mexico, they don't really even stop your car. They just wave you in. But those are Mexican border guards right there that wave you in. When you're stuck in traffic to get out of Mexico, all those guys are America because you want to go into America.
Yeah.
So and we got our rules.
Jean in Puyallup, when getting lost, did it do something good or bad for you?
It did something good for me. I was lost in Tacoma. I'd been on oxycodone for about a month, and it was a new medication that I was on, and I got lost in Tacoma. I couldn't figure out how to get out of Tacoma, and I'm from the Pacific Northwest, for gosh sakes. But anyway, I finally stopped at a 7-Eleven, asked somebody how to get on the freeway, so I did what he'd said, but the traffic was so heavy, I ended up going out towards Gig Harbor, and I made it to about mile 21, and I pulled off the road, and I called my good neighbors, and they loaded on up. They came and got me and drove me back home. And
Now, by good neighbors, do you mean State Farm or actual people that you know? Because like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
That's right, yeah.
And why is this a good story?
Yeah, well, anyway, it just they finally come and got me, brought me home, and I took all the oxycodone that I had left and gave it right back to my pain management gal. Said that ain't going to work for me.
Oh, you got clean by getting lost in Tacoma and winding up in Gig Harbor and calling State Farm.
What a waste.
Makes perfect sense.
No, you wait till the script runs out before you start. When you got 7 pills left in your medicine cabinet, don't do anything rash.
Ray in Rented, did getting lost lead to something good or bad for you?
Well, I have a story. It's a good and bad.
All right.
I was delivering a trailer to a dairy farm in northern New Jersey, and about 8 miles up this windy, twisty, really dark country road at dark o'clock in the morning, I came across a railroad bridge with an 11-foot clearance, and the trailer was 13-foot 2.
Yeah.
That's the bad. So I'm backing my trailer out of this road, and the county sheriff comes up, helps me get out. We became friends. A couple of weeks after that, he asked me to come listen to his cousin's band up in Jersey City. While we were there listening to the band, Bruce Springsteen walked into this little tiny dive bar and jammed with the state or the sheriff's cousin. While we were there at the bar, there was like maybe 50 people in this bar.
Right.
Okay, that's
Kind of my dream.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Because a place that I go that I just recently discovered at this point in my life, a place called Pappy and Harriet's. I think I mentioned it recently out in Joshua Tree.
Yeah.
Paul McCartney got up on stage and played 3 hours, apparently.
So cool.
Oh, my God. Come on. I want to be there for that.
If he had not gotten lost, he would not have heard Bruce Springsteen.
Right.
Zach in Sultan, good morning.
Hey, Zach.
Good morning,
Morning.
folks. How you doing?
We're all good. What do you got?
Hey, I don't know. I shared something about this with you one time, I think, but I was lost up at Mount Rainier.
Yep.
And I just had my ankle reconstructed in a cast icon. And I got up at a point of no return. I couldn't go back because I had just climbed a hill of huge basketball-sized boulders, and they were caving in, so I couldn't go back. And I got up into the snow, and it was so steep that you could see where the deer or elk had stuck their hooves in, and they slid. So I'm on all fours, and all I have on is shorts and tennis shoes and a tank top. And I'm crawling.
Why are you doing it? What's wrong with you? Why are you doing
What
this,
just
Zach?
happened?
You could be killed.
I couldn't turn back.
Why are you even in shorts and T-shirts?
Because you can't turn back.
I've never once been lost enough to think, I don't know, I'll just climb Mount Rainier. That seems like a great idea.
You reach the point of no return and you can't come back.
Basketball-sized boulders and elk.
We got a text into 90627. One of our listeners got lost in Germany after clubbing and was picked up by a party bus with a DJ and bachelorette party.
Oh,
Doesn't sound that bad.
super nice time.
And Tori, do you have a getting lost story to share?
Yeah, so my family took a 2-week trip across the country to get to Florida. And when we were in Kansas, we got kind of turned around.
Kansas.
Oh, it's so great. Not the band, Paul. But we got lost and we went to this place called Prairie Dog Town. And you could feed all the prairie dogs. And there were like 2-headed animals and all this taxidermy and jackalopes. It was crazy.
What was the name of it?
Prairie Dog Town, and it's closed.
Oh.
Sorry to hear that, because it's in my Route 66 book
Oh,
about
it's
things
great.
you should see on road trips. Is Prairie Dog Town.
She wanted to take a couple with her for the freezer.
Yeah, the 2-headed kind. Oh.
Can you pack these on ice? I'm on a road trip.
Derek, you get lost?
I flew into Oakland, and it was nighttime, so as I was leaving, I missed the road that goes to the freeway, and 2 things happened. One, I realized I'm in a part of town I really shouldn't be in.
There's a lot of that happening in Oakland.
But number 2 is I found an In-N-Out burger.
Nice.
So it
good
worked
news.
out well for me.
Wherever
Totally
you are,
worth it.
there's an
Derek,
In-N-Out.
sorry. Hey, guys, it is time to play Fogarty or...
Fogarty. Oh.
What is happening over here? It's we need you to really desire to play Fogarty or...
If you want to win these tickets, you need to call right now to play the game. 800-252-1025. English is not my friend. Tom Petty on 102.5 KZOK, where we are playing the new game that's sweeping the nation, Fogarty or...
Fogarty or...
I was late.
You can win a pair of tickets to see John Fogarty on July 19th at Chateau Saint Michel. Now,
or you might not win the tickets.
That's true.
Right?
The
But
first
you probably will.
Or
show
you don't have a phone.
is sold out. But these are tickets to the second show. Tickets are still available, and you can win them if you can correctly tell us if the audio you hear is Fogarty or something.
This is where I hurt my tongue playing around with you guys.
It does sound silly when you say it.
Well, when I say it or you say it.
Chris in Issaquah, are you ready to play?
I am ready to play.
Well, let me ask you a couple of important questions before we get going there, Chris. Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Absolutely.
All right, then. Do you understand the rules of the game?
Yes.
Here we go, sir. John Fogarty was born and raised in the San Francisco Bay Area, a place where today's or would also feel right at home. Listen carefully to this audio clip and tell us, is it Fogarty or a
Foghorn.
or a foghorn?
Wow.
Whoops. That was like perfect timing.
Yeah, it was.
It's a tough one.
So here's the thing, man. Is it John Fogarty or is it a foghorn?
That is a foghorn.
That is.
I
That
wish in a
is
way
a
that
foghorn.
Chris
Got it
had
right.
gotten it wrong.
Oh, yeah.
But he didn't, of course. Chris, you are going to the Jeep Winners window.
What is happening to you, young
I
lady?
can't speak English. I must have bit my tongue. You are going to the Jeep Winners window in our lobby to get tickets to see John Fogarty July 19th at Chateau Saint Michel. The rest of you are going to play again tomorrow at 7:20 because this went so well today.
Yeah.
And up next, the big news of the day.
And, of course, the big news of the day is brought to you by Goldberg Jones Divorce for Men. Here's the phone number. It's 1-800-DIVORCE. That's easy. Or you can go online to goldbergjones.com.
Yesterday, history was made as the U.S. health regulators approved the pharmaceutical company GWPLCS epilepsy treatment.
Oh, that's nice.
It's the first cannabis-based drug to win approval in America.
Wow.
This is a drug to fight epilepsy, severe epilepsy, and they said it is using weed for the first time ever.
Well, that's great, because I always wonder how much of, hey, this weed is actually medicine is real, and how much of it is Grateful Dead fans just hoping for the best. Because by the way, since pot became legal, I'm not opposed to the edibles. When I say edibles, I mean drinkables. I think they should work on letting you know when it is they're going to happen to you, because you take a drink of this stuff, and then 9 hours later, you're freaking out and pulling elves out of your hair.
This is the approval of permits to be used for patients aged 2 years old and over with Dravet syndrome or Lennox-Gastaut syndrome, which are forms of epilepsy that are very hard to treat. And they said this is a drug called Epidiolex. It is made of cannabis oil and then a bunch of different molecules that also has a little bit of THC in there. But for the most part, they said it's cannabis oil and it's going to help fight epilepsy.
And is it, and I don't expect you to know the answer unless it's written right there, it's the CBDs. Is it a CBD?
That's what cannabis oil is, CBD.
Okay, because they have these cute names for what it is. I was in the pot store saying, what does all this stuff do? And they say, well, indica, here's the way to remember it. Indica, couch. And apparently everybody knows that expression except me. And it makes you relax and calm down. And CBD, and which my wife is interested for her anxiety, I was told, oh yeah, this is great. Calm the bitch down. That's what CBD stands for. So I remember all this. I might as well be a doctor.
Yeah. And is this will be available nationwide, not just in the states that have legal medicinal
Nationwide.
use? Wow,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Because the DEA oversees all of this stuff. That's why this is pretty revolutionary, that they said that this isn't something that would be abused. It's got less than 0.1% of THC.
Yeah.
So what would be the point in taking someone's epilepsy drugs? You wouldn't get high from it. But it's still a huge step in the potential right direction
Yeah, I
for
think so.
treating people using derivatives of marijuana.
Plus, there's a chance it'll actually calm the bitch down, which would be awesome.
By that, you mean your wife.
Yes.
A 15-year-old is being widely praised for an act of kindness during a cross-country flight. There was a flight that was going from Boston to Los Angeles on Alaska Airlines. They had a layover in Portland. So this was a 6-hour flight with, like I said, stop in Portland. And there was somebody on board who was having difficulty communicating. A deaf, blind man was a passenger.
Bound to have troubles difficulty communicating.
A flight attendant, they were trying to communicate with the man, were having a lot of trouble. They asked on the plane speaker, does anyone here know sign language? This 15-year-old had been studying American Sign Language communication techniques in school. She pressed the call button and said yes.
You know, the story, there's a lovely ending that we're going to get to. But just maybe they say, who would know to call for the sign language guy, girl, whoever, the sign language expert, for the blind guy?
Right.
That would never occur to me in a million years.
I guess the blind person could feel that, like they could do sign language, and the blind person could reach out and hold and touch their hand.
They put it in the palm of their hand. But I wouldn't have known that if I was the flight attendant. I would not have known that.
Yeah.
That is a method to communicate with deaf, blind people, and that's what they did. That's what she was taught to do in school, and was able to communicate by signing onto his hand. So the teenager communicated with him throughout the flight, talked about his past as a salesman. He asked her about her life. He needed a little bit of help throughout the flight, and she provided it the whole time.
Wow.
And one of the flight attendants, noticed this, wanted to give her accolades. It's been posted to social media and shared almost 1 million times.
Yeah, very nice. It was a lovely story. And it helps that one of the participants was adorable. The girl, the 15-year-old girl.
Yeah.
You definitely want that as one of your kids for sure.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Just everything about her seemed wholesome and nice. Even pink hair.
Yeah.
Clara Daly is her name. Good kid.
Clara Daly. What is it tomorrow? Shut up.
Probably Clara again.
I don't know. Change the Daily. You be quiet.
Madison, Wisconsin. A man was driving a stolen vehicle, but had a pretty good reason for not stopping when the cops tried to pull him over.
Yeah.
Police had been sent to a Quick Trip store, 10 o'clock in the morning. An employee recognized a person from a previous theft case and said, this dude just stole a car, a red Chrysler Sebring. Well, cops arrived at the scene and said, pull over. He fled, then pulls the car over and flees on foot. They eventually catch up to him, and he said, I'm sorry I ran. My parole officer told me not to have any police contact.
Oh, this guy's my hero.
Yeah, that seems absolutely reasonable.
Well, he's back behind bars because it is a violation of his parole.
Well, also stealing stuff, not just being in contact with the cops.
They're taking the car.
When 100 years ago, when I was first put on probation, one of the rules was that I could not be within 100 feet or 500 feet, whatever it was, of another person on probation or criminal of any kind.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, well, how the hell am I going to know? And the guy said, my probation officer said, you won't. And to be honest with you, if you get on an airplane that's full, there's 5 other guys on probation on that. So just try not to get involved with crooks.
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
Every ballpark has a variety of delicious foods.
Yeah, some better than others.
Some better than others, some more adventurous than others. The Erie Sea Wolves held an event called Sugar Rush Night and decided to make things a little bit crazy in the kitchen. It's a cotton candy hot dog.
Well, that's just disgusting. And I would so have one.
Yeah.
It's something your wife might enjoy. It's cotton candy is the bun.
Is she trying to tell you what kind of
I don't know.
wiener your wife might enjoy?
I don't know. I don't know that she even likes hot dogs, but all right.
It's a cotton candy bun followed by a hot dog covered in nerds.
That's got Amy all over. Oh, she won me back.
Nerds,
Just when I
yeah.
thought she was crazy, the nerds got involved.
Amy
She's still
likes
crazy.
nerds. It looks kind of disgusting. They did have one of the Tigers prospect pitchers give it a try. It's very colorful.
I told you that I don't know if it's a ballpark or a restaurant. Somebody's having, because I thought about this when I learned about Big Maple, right?
Yeah.
There's a place that is serving you a hot dog that is pushed right through the middle of a maple bar.
That was what they were doing at Safeco
That's what
Field.
it was? That seems awesome.
I didn't see it, so I don't know if it was like through the middle or if it was on top of, but they were using a maple bar as a bun.
I like it.
Yeah.
Tim Tebow.
Tebow!
Sorry, I didn't start that right. Danny's favorite quarterback turned ball player.
Tebow!
Back in sports news, he went 2 for 4 with the Binghamton Rumble Ponies.
Yeah.
Their big win over the Hartford Yard Goats.
Do they like to ram the Rumble Ponies?
They say he has been hitting really, really well. He is at 345 over the last 10 games. His OPS is 736, and there might be a reason to bring Tebow up to the real Mets.
Wow, that's very cool. By the way, what's an OPS?
On base percentages. It's a slugging percentage and how many times you get on base. It's what most people look at now.
And so you really think he might make the Mets?
Well, the Mets are pretty terrible.
Right.
Yeah,
You'd
you're
sell
right that
some tickets.
there might be a reason, and that reason is sell some tickets, sell some jerseys. That's the
Right.
only reason.
Is that the only reason? There's no way he's good enough?
We're seeing, though, he's hitting really well. That's
Yeah,
the
but
whole
he's
point.
getting pitched to by
Against-
a saw doggy or whatever.
Right, exactly.
That's the big news of the day. It's brought to you by Goldberg Jones. Divorce for Men, 1-800-DIVORCE, or online, goldbergjones.com.
Come on, man. There is more coming right up at Sarah's Filthy Forecast.
It's Sarah with your filthy forecast. Who's ready for it? Open wide. 69 degrees today.
Oh, nice.
Oh, with all this sunshine and tantalizing temperatures, you might be compelled to take it all off and just have a swim. Did I ever tell you I have a pool? Isn't that right, Tori?
Yeah.
Oh, Topless Tuesday shows us glorious, bouncy, firm, touchable rays from the sun. Tomorrow it goes down on us a tad.
Thank you.
67. Up and down and up and down. How much can a girl take? I hope you can take a lot, because I have another forecast for you Thursday. See you then. Good looking. The best weather front in Seattle. I'm Sarah.
She added good looking. I feel better about myself now. That was Sarah's Filthy Forecast. By the way, I want to point out, you need the iHeartRadio app. It's all your favorite music, all your favorite stations, and all of that free of charge, my friend. So listen to it on your smart speakers. Just say, hey, Alexa, play KZOK on iHeartRadio, or okay, Google, play KZOK on iHeartRadio. Alrighty, so I've been thinking about this, and the more I think about it, the more I get afraid. Tomorrow morning on this very show, about an hour from this time, I'm going to be shaving my head. Why, you ask?
Yeah.
Man, I ask that too. And the answer is that my sister, who has always been very kind to me, came down with a little touch of the cancer. But enough to make her go bald from the chemotherapy. And she sent me a picture, but she didn't wait to be bald. She said, I can't stand the thought of my long hair going down the drain. So she just snipped a bunch of it off.
Yeah.
So I have that to look forward to. But anyway, tomorrow morning, approximately right at 9 o'clock, be shaving the old head. I'm doing it for cancer. Susan G. Komen has a foundation. Everybody's heard about it. You can find that if you want to do a donation or in the future take a walk. That is Komen, KOMEN.org. And the always wonderful American Cancer Society's website is cancer.org. So check that out. And you can check this all out on Danny TV, right?
Yeah, absolutely. People can watch it live. We do that on our Facebook page. I can imagine Danny TV is going to be very popular tomorrow morning.
Well, I hope so. And I hope I do a good thought for somebody. I mean, it's getting more frightening as I get closer. But yeah, you can watch it, right?
Yeah, people have been really encouraging and supportive. Emails coming in and people on the text line saying, Danny, it's such a cool thing that you're doing. And they think you're going to look great bald.
Well, what I'd like to say is thank you for that part. And I'm glad to do it. But that would be a huge lie. I'm getting less and less glad by the minute, but it's the right thing to do. And I've done enough of the wrong things to do. So I will do this tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock.
Sister.
Right.
That's nice. Well, it's that time of year where we keep getting all the results of the Guinness Book of World Records. Who is breaking what record for what? And most of them are pretty dumb. But it turns out one of the ones that was just said over the weekend, pink flamingos Buffalo, the city of Buffalo, they broke the world record for how many pink flamingos they had in a row.
Yeah, I guess they're just going, we got nothing else going on. Let's do this.
Right.
They're putting down their buffalo wings for 5 minutes
Right.
and then hanging out with pink flamingos.
By the way, it's a terrible town. Don't tell anybody, but it's awful there.
But we were just talking about it yesterday, and I asked around who's got pink flamingos, and turns out Paul's got a pink flamingo in his
we do.
yard. And you said you proudly display that right next to your garden gnome.
Right. We have quite a few garden gnomes, like all spread. I think having a young kid is part of it because I certainly didn't put the pink flamingo or the garden gnomes up for myself.
Well, I have a fig tree on our balcony, and we bought it, and it was the size of a pencil, and it is now taller than I am.
Really?
It's huge.
It was height and width approximately somewhere in the
Of a
ballpark
pencil.
of a pencil.
Yes.
Wow. How
And
long
now
have you
it's
had it?
Wow.
4 or 5 years.
Wow.
I would not have expected that.
It's massive, and people come over, and I show it to them. Like, I am so proud of my fig
You
tree.
should be. I stick the toothpicks in the avocado seed every 3 years or so,
Yeah.
and there's a little tiny sprout, and then everything dies. So to actually get a tree, pretty impressive.
So to make you jealous, right next to my fig tree, I do have an avocado that I grew from the pit. And same thing, I'm so proud of it. It's like right on display.
You should be. You
and I
totally
show it.
should be.
Look at my green thumb.
Well, I'm proud of mine then.
Yeah.
I have an American flag posted
yeah.
very proudly.
Very
And
cool.
I'm, I felt I was getting, because I've always had an American flag, but recently I felt that there was some kind of reason for, not concern, but there are beeps in front of my house there never were before, and I don't know if they're like, oh yeah, the American flag, or down with Trump, or up with Trump, and it has nothing to do with Trump. It has to do with 1776. I'm a proud
Yeah.
American.
USA.
USA, totally.
Well, you guys listening, what is something you display loud and proud in or around your home? What is it? Call us and let us know. 800-252-1025 or text 90627 now.
All right, now here's the question. That somebody broke the world's record for pink flamingos. I don't understand why they did it, but I also don't understand why they live in Buffalo. Here's that question to you, though. What is something you display loud and proud around your house? Here's the phone number to call, 1-800-252-1025, or you can text us to 90627. I went with American flag. Sarah has a fig tree she grew from a stub, if you will. And Paul, he's got a flamingo.
And the gnomes.
And the gnomes. Don't forget about the gnomes.
Those things aren't even mine. I mean, none of those things actually belong to me.
Let's talk to our friend Mike in Sultan.
Hey, Mike.
Good morning, Sarah. Good morning, Stinky Sexy Bonaduce.
What's up, man?
Not a whole heck of a lot. What's up with you?
Well, just sitting here doing a little radio show. Pretty good one, if you ask me. What do you got? What do you got to offer?
I have 2 parking signs. One of them says Parrot Head parking only, and the other one says Husky parking only. And if a cougar parks there, I will have it towed.
As well you should. Where do you have the sign?
They're on a fence right in my parking area and where I live in Lake Stevens.
That's
Right.
funny.
Now, what about a husky parrot head? Can they park there twice?
They can park a truck there if they want.
All
There
right.
you go. A husky parrot head.
We had a boss who, in his office, displayed loud and proud old Shea Stadium seats.
Yeah.
He was a
that's
big Mets
cool.
fan.
Was
and
that
bought
Jeff?
those. Yeah, Jeff Catalano. And I get that. You know, a lot of the sports stuff you would display loud and proud in your home or in the office. Paul, if the gnomes aren't yours, the flamingos aren't yours, what is something you display loud and proud at your home?
I don't know that this is mine either, but we have a year-round holiday tree in our living room, and it's like the whole center of attention for our living room. It just happened that we left our Christmas tree up a little too long, and we decided to make it a Valentine's Day tree. And so from there, we just kept it up all year round. We have a St. Patrick's Day tree, an Easter tree,
That's kind of neat.
a Flag Day tree, which now I got to decorate for 4th of July, but we still have the Flag Day decorations on it.
Is it a
so-
real living tree?
It's an artificial tree.
Oh.
So this was the first year that we didn't get a live tree. We put an artificial tree up, and Holiday really wanted to switch to an artificial tree. She's tired of like pine needles all over and spiders.
She's
whatever
right.
else.
In my opinion, she's right. The majority of people would disagree with us, but I think the Christmas trees are silly. I don't get it. I read a billion books, and nowhere did it say, here's why you have a Christmas tree.
I was kind of against it, and so as a protest, I just didn't take the tree down. And then I thought, well, I'm going to have fun with this. We're going to, Jelly Bean and I will decorate it for Valentine's Day.
Right.
And I thought, this is going to be silly, and Holiday's going to finally say, all right, well, next year we can get a regular, normal live tree. But no, it's kind of backfired on me. Now this is kind of our thing.
That's cute, though.
That is cute.
I like it. Rob in Louisville, what is something you display loud and proud in or around your home?
Well, I believe my wife might have the record on wind chimes, and I guess you call them yard statues or ceramic statues.
Right.
Yeah.
She's got everything: dogs, eagles, little
Oh, my.
squirrels.
So
You
your
name it.
entire yard is covered in those?
It's like Noah's Ark.
Well, except all the animals are dead. I don't know that Noah loaded up on dog statues, but none of my business, man. Whatever you're up to, but the wind chimes would kill me.
Yeah. Rob, do you have neighbors? And if you do they hate you?
No, they love us.
They do.
The wind chimes would make me crazy.
Yeah.
Honestly,
What?
the wind chimes really ain't that loud. I guess it's like living next to an airport. You finally get used to them.
Yeah, I think that's it, because we have
Tinkle, tinkle.
like one set of wind chimes, and it's the most annoying thing in the world.
Ever, yeah.
I think he just got used to it.
When I used to live on a boat in Marina Del Rey, there's the ropes and cables that go up and down the mast that go, from 8 feet, I guess, to 40 feet and get thicker. And as the waves come or the winds come, the boats rock and the cables hit the mast. And it is the most amazing sound ever. But it takes a lot of work to make them go. They're not constant.
Gisela in Auburn, good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
My little thing is I have leopard print. Several years back, a friend of mine didn't care for it, which just fed my fuel for it.
Well, leopard
So
print what?
For the leopard print.
But what's leopard print in your home?
My blankets, my bathrobe, pillows.
So everything. Everything in your house is leopard print.
Yeah, I had leopard print boots once, and they were pretty ostentatious.
Yeah.
I've got some shoes, but to have it all over your home, well,
I've
good
got
for
an
you,
actual
Gisela.
leopard.
What?
The leopard walks around with a leopard print all the time, and I don't know that Johnny Blackwell or whatever that guy's name is goes, thumbs up, leopard.
But her entire house covered in leopard print.
I can see it.
I can too. You've been to Gisela's house. Dave in Everett, what is something you display loud and proud in your home?
I have a Notre Dame flag displayed outside of my house 24/7. Go Irish.
Go Irish.
Go Irish.
Go Chips.
Yeah.
And let's talk to Dave in Federal Way.
Hey, Dave.
Guys.
Say it again. We didn't hear you.
Half a day for love, guys.
Your mic wasn't on.
No,
Thank you,
missed
Dave.
that.
Jump, Dave.
Hey, I got a Guam flag in front of my house, and there's a trespassing sign that says trespassers will be shot, survivors will be shot again and again.
And again.
And again.
Wait,
my
it doesn't
goodness.
say half a day from Guam,
It
guys.
does not. I want a sign that says, I saw a sign said, forget about the owner. Beware. No, forget about the dog. Beware of owner.
Oh, yeah,
And
that's
I want
cool.
to say, forget about the owner. My dog has a gun, but it didn't catch on.
Tori, something you display loud and proud in your home is your collection of dead animals?
Oh, gosh. See, I have so many things. It's really hard to pick one, but I really, really love my signed Vitology record that Gary Crow gave me with Eddie Vedder's autograph.
That's
Well,
pretty amazing.
that's just sweet.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
And that is amazing. But for those of you who missed it earlier, Tori did disclose today that she has a new pet in her freezer.
I do.
Well, it's not a pet; it's a pet corpse.
It is now a pet corpse.
Because
Former pet.
one is weird, but it makes her a murderer if you got a pet in there. It's a pet that passed away.
They weren't always all dead right when they went in the freezer, right?
No, just one of them.
So one of them was alive?
One of them was alive.
Yeah.
Axolotl, she froze.
Exactly.
So you were saying it makes her a better person? Not necessarily.
I don't even know Tori's last name. But Tori, you put an animal in the freezer alive?
I did. My dad said it was the humane way to kill a fish.
No.
It kind of is.
Oh, a fish? Yeah. All right, never mind. I can live with it.
It wasn't a fish, though. It was an amphibian.
The axolotl. Yeah.
It's kind of like a fish.
She said it was dumb.
Okay.
It was sick.
Yeah, all right.
Derek, something you display loud and proud in your home?
The one thing on display in my house is a sink full of dirty dishes and an overflowing trash can.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for the calls and texts, everybody. We will be right back in just a few minutes with the news. News is brought to you by the Evergreen Speedway. Police cordoned off an area of Linwood and searched it with canine tracking dogs this morning after a high-speed chase and crash. The incident began with the report of a suspect in a vehicle, which then led to a high-speed chase and a crash near 52nd Avenue West and 168th Street, not far from Meadowdale High School. They said the patrol cars swarmed the scene and the search continues. There do not appear to be any arrests, but this is still ongoing.
You know that game, get your porno name, put the street you were born on and your first pet?
Yeah.
Brexit. When you go, what's your name? You go, 182 Spot. It's not a great porno name. Just thought I'd share that.
Do you remember yours? What is it, your first pet and the street you grew up on?
Yeah, and I would be Lancer Feliciano. Not bad. That's the dog and the street.
Which one goes first? The pet name?
I think pet name followed by the street you grew up on.
Street you grew up on. So what are you?
Pet name first, right? Pepe Lindbrook.
Not great.
Okay.
The little roll of the dice didn't help you out there.
I am Willie Richfield.
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
one.
Tori, do you know your porn name?
Gosh, I don't know the street, but I have Nibbles.
Make you super unpopular in porn.
Yeah.
Derek, did you have a pet growing up? Can you play this game?
Taco Bellagio.
Genius.
Nice.
Genius.
Derek
Tori,
might
you don't
win.
remember your street?
I don't, not the one I grew up on.
Okay, that's a little weird.
Yeah, it is a
That's
little weird. Then she put a live animal in her freezer.
It'll happen.
Yeah, and we're in the news.
Yeah.
Porn names.
Back to local news. A Seattle man has died after falling from a climb on Mount Stewart. The Chelan Sheriff's Office says 32-year-old Varun Sadaverte died after falling several hundred feet down a steep slope and unfortunately landing on rocks.
No.
The man he was climbing with called for help. They were not able to resuscitate him.
And it's Mount Stewart? I don't think I even know that one.
There's so many.
There are so many in this neck of the woods.
How about some good news in the news?
Love that.
The Woodland Park Zoo is celebrating the birth of twins. Twin red pandas.
Oh, red pandas are adorable.
Yeah.
They're
Except
so
they don't look anything like pandas. Not just like a panda turned red. They look more like a fox.
Yeah.
They're very, very cute. These were born to 2-year-old mom Hazel and 13-year-old dad Yukiko. And according to the Woodland Park Zoo's Director of Animal Health, they seem healthy and they will allow mom to nurse them before they show them to the public. Red pandas are born very small and blind.
Really?
Yep.
Maybe they could get that 15-year-old girl to do sign language on the paws.
Yeah.
By the way, this is the first time in 29 years that the Woodland Park Zoo is celebrating the birth of red pandas,
Really?
let alone 2.
That's a
So
long
the-
gestation period.
Either the panda there is over 22 years old, or they brought her in more recently.
Well, if dad is 13 and mom is 2,
None of that happened there.
yeah,
Right.
I think they've just had a hard time getting them to do what they need to do.
And is it 29 like human years or red panda years?
In national and international news, the Supreme Court upheld President Donald Trump's ban on travel from several mostly Muslim countries, rejecting a challenge that it discriminated against Muslims or exceeded his authority. This was a 5-4 decision this morning, and it is the court's first substantive ruling on the Trump administration's policy. Now, Chief Justice John Roberts said the president does have substantial power to regulate immigration, and he voted yay.
And he's the new guy.
John Roberts?
Yeah, I
I
think.
think he is the newest of them. Yeah.
And he's also the
Years.
guy that, when getting grilled by the Senate, said, "Oh, no, I will not be a puppet for Mr. Trump. I'm go my own way." Because this is clearly an immoral order as far as I'm concerned. And it is
5-4.
racist
4 other people did vote for it.
for wrong people. They should have come to me, and I'd straighten them out.
Yeah.
And the Supreme Court is steering clear of a high-profile murder. The justices said they will not hear the appeal of one of the 2 men convicted in the case featured on the Netflix series Making a Murderer. Attorneys for Wisconsin's Brandon Dassey, who was 16 when he confessed to helping his uncle murder a woman, they had argued that he had limited mental abilities, he was coerced, found guilty, and now the Supreme Court said, We're leaving the conviction in place.
Wow, because it seemed to me like he had limited mental abilities and was coerced.
Yeah, right.
I watched that happen. The guy doesn't make it that he didn't kill somebody or help his Uncle Steve kill somebody, but it just seemed wrong to bully this kid without his parents, without an attorney.
Yeah.
Now the Supreme Court's leaving it up for a third season. Is that the plan?
I guess so.
No, that's not on TV anymore, right? Or on the radio?
That
or
was
podcast?
Netflix. No, they did 2 seasons but they did a season and then like some more details came out and they did a second season. So maybe now if there's...
Yeah.
The search for a youth soccer team who have been lost for 3 days in a cave in Thailand resumed today with messages of hope, according to the Prime Minister of Thailand. They are still optimistic that they are alive. They said although they don't have any food to drink or eat, rather, they have water to drink. And they found some fresh hand and footprints inside the cave complex, leading them to believe they may be alive. Now, these individuals were not supposed to be in this cave, and it was a closed cave.
And was there a scoutmaster with them?
This is the coach of the soccer team.
Okay, and the coach was with them?
25-year-old coach, 12 boys aged 11 to 16, entered on Saturday after crossing through a 50-foot-long tunnel, but now there are heavy rains, and that stream they crossed over is a wall of water, so they can't get out the way they came in. Wow. And this is a huge cave system, miles and miles of caves.
Here's just the only advice I have for you. Don't eat the chubby kid first. It's not the genius way to go that you think it is.
No?
No, it'll slow you down with the triglycerides.
But I mean, you got to think there's good marbling in there.
Yeah.
It's flavor.
I would think, and not to play along with your game,
yeah,
but you go for the skinny kid first because the big kid will start to lose weight. The skinny kid, if he loses weight, there won't be any meat on the bones.
Right.
That's a reasonable argument.
Yeah, right.
Right there.
Here's the other thing. He's 15.
Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte is in yet another controversy, but this time it's not about his alleged mass killing of drug suspects or throwing people out of helicopters. Or
We've gotten over all that?
I haven't.
Shooting women in the whatsits. It's not eating terrorist livers.
I didn't even hear that he had done that.
You didn't hear about the shoot him in the whatsits? That's a real thing, man.
No.
That's a real thing.
I mean, I remember the Access Hollywood tapes about grabbing him, but not the shooting.
Nope. Shoot him right then and there.
This is the president of the Philippines, and he talked to his people and said, God is stupid. Now, for those of you who are not aware.
Well, look what happened to his kid. You know, he does take his eye off the ball.
80% of the Philippines is Catholic. 90% of Filipinos are Christian. So perhaps calling God stupid, not the smartest move. But he did.
Does he seem like he makes a lot of the smartest moves? Like he's based his whole career on making the smartest move?
Yeah, your God is not my God because your God is stupid. My God has a lot of common sense.
Wow.
Oh.
Not sure who his God is.
I don't know, because the Catholic God, my God, made it rain till everything drowned. Just had Noah and his kids and one wife or two on a boat. That seemed rough.
Bit strange.
Toads falling from the sky. God did that too. I don't know what the comments said. The guy might have a point.
And in Arizona, Buckeye, Arizona to be precise, firefighters in Buckeye are warning residents after a family reported finding several snakes inside a pool noodle.
I have had it with these monkey-fighting snakes
in this noodle.
Thank you, Dan. I appreciate that.
According to...
Best impression ever.
I mean, it's uncanny.
Like twins, yeah.
Sounds like him. According to the family, they picked up 2 pool noodles that had been left outside, and a large rattlesnake emerged from one, and several babies emerged from another.
Wow. Well, don't pull on their noodle.
They said it is ungodly hot out, and they were just looking for somewhere to hide and stay cool.
Yeah.
They said in temperatures like this, you just got to be careful because animals are going to go anywhere to get cool. So imagine you're going to play with a... No, I shouldn't say it that way. Imagine you're going to float on the noodle, not play with it, and a snake comes out of there?
No, I would wet myself. And the cool news is I'm in a pool, so you might not notice, but I'm wetting myself.
A man named Francis stole a $100 chainsaw and was soon spotted by the staff of the hardware store because of his outfit.
Cut off his leg.
He was wearing camo, head to toe camo.
Oh, so we got away.
And they said, well, you may have thought that would make you blend in.
Yeah.
But in fact, just the opposite. Because who wears head to toe camo when they're not in the military and you're in England?
People I don't care for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was busted. $100 chainsaw.
Eye for an eye. Cut off one of them feet or something. What I say.
We were just talking about flamingos, how so many of you guys have flamingos in your front yard.
Yeah.
Well, a real live flamingo escaped from the Kansas Zoo more than a decade ago, 2005.
Yeah.
It has now been spotted in Texas.
Really?
How do they know it's the same flamingo?
I don't
don't
know.
be crazy. Well, it's all pink.
This flamingo is known as number 492.
Oh, yeah.
That's a romantic little title for the
It's a
thing.
Great name.
And it's an
It's not a Great Dane.
Great name.
Oh, never mind that.
Yeah. If it was a Great Dane, that's a flamingo you can
All
pull
pink.
pick out in a crowd.
Pink Great Dane come wandering up.
an
Snakes coming
African
out of its noodle.
flamingo. And it made its break from the Kansas Zoo after its keepers failed to clip its wings. It has been spotted in several states since. Perhaps these states just have no flamingos, and that's how they know it's the same one, or there's a tracker. I have no idea.
If there was a tracker, I think they would just go get it and take it back to the Kansas Zoo.
I would think so, too. So I don't know how they know it's the same one, but they claim to know that that's 492.
Well, the way you tell is in the autopsy right after you shoot this pesky bird.
Danny.
What?
Loser, flamingo
You
abuser.
have some sort of affiliation with the pink bird that won't go back to its home?
Would you want to be in a zoo?
No, so shoot me.
Wait a second. I just figured out how they know it's the same
How?
flamingo. It's from Kansas. It's got an eye patch.
That's exactly it.
Look for the flamingo with the eye patch.
Although it could be the lead singer of Dr. Hook, but they haven't worked in a while.
The pictures of the flamingo are pretty interesting because it's hanging out with a whole bunch of seagulls. They said the last time
Like a
490
whole flock?
flock of seagulls?
Those marriages never work.
So the last time they spotted it, it had found a companion bird, a smaller, pinker flamingo known as HDNT.
Who names these flamingos?
Some guy with no romance in his soul whatsoever.
And a man tried to smuggle some drugs into the city jail by hiding Kinder Surprise capsules.
Surprise.
Where'd he hide them?
Surprise.
Really?
Oh.
Really?
No wonder they banned those things. Don't want kids playing with that.
Right, but if you put them there, it is not a choking hazard.
No.
So this guy wanted to bring in some cocaine, crystal meth, some weed, and some
who
fentanyl.
wouldn't?
Yeah.
So,
Oh, I'd be so nervous having fentanyl up there.
Yeah, don't do that.
so these little Kinder Surprise capsules, they look like a little egg for Easter candy, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Well, he decided to put them where the sun don't shine, but instead of the toy that would normally be inside the Italian chocolate egg treat, it was different types of drugs.
Right, they got rid of the chocolate entirely?
He figured
Nope.
out what he was trying to do. They said they put him in a dry cell, meaning a cell with no toilet or no sink, and waited until nature did the trick.
Wait till it just goes on the floor?
Yep.
Ew.
I mean, we talked about this a few months ago. There was a story out of England, and the guy went like 3 months.
He went at least 45 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So are they just still waiting for this
No.
guy, or did they figure
This-
it out? Oh,
this
they
guy-
know what's in there, so of course they figured it out.
They figured it out. Plus, they said that these little plastic capsules are thin and flexible, making it easier to hoop. And they just
What's
knew.
a hoop?
It's a hoop? Like
It's a
they
hoop.
retrieved?
No, that's what the term is for putting it where the sun don't shine.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I thought it was, weren't there's better words than hooped for that.
I don't know.
Oh, you
I
want
thought.
the jail people to be smarter with their lingo?
Yes,
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
do.
I thought that was a retrieval method, like they threw a lasso up there. So.
And
No.
isn't this how ODB died?
Yeah, absolutely.
On to Florida,
All right.
where we know things are not right. Police arrested a naked Cape Coral man after they say he burned himself while dancing around the fire completely naked, threatening police.
Oh, can you imagine what that smells like?
According to police, officers were called to the scene 1 o'clock in the morning. This dude was in his front yard, dancing totally naked, chanting, holding a knife. And cops said, "Can you put the knife down?" He started to dance and chant some more. Then he picked up a large wooden stick, and that's when the taser came out.
Sure.
And they said they could
That
not.
Tases, who's it? Because I would just love that. That would make me very happy.
They believe he had taken psychedelic mushrooms.
That would be my thought. Although I have limited experience with those, but I never wanted to stab anybody.
No, but you want to dance naked around a fire.
Yeah.
For sure.
No, is that an automatic? Because I don't remember. I don't think I had real mushrooms. Or they weren't very potent.
They were just creminis.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Everybody made a big fuss out of them. They didn't make me feel impotent.
Well, have you often wondered how did the alligator cross the road?
Almost all the time.
Yeah.
Well, in this case, it was thanks to two women. How did the alligator cross the road? Well, two women held up traffic.
That's a big alligator.
It was a pretty big alligator. 6 feet.
It's not a great big
Small
alligator. You know what made me laugh? If
What?
it like bit the leg of one of those goody two shoes. cross here, Mr. Alligator, because I am one with nature.
Then she'd be goody one shoe.
Exactly.
It's pretty surprising, especially in the Florida area, to see how many people are just around alligators.
Yeah.
Like I would just think, and I've done it too. I've been to Everglades National Park, and they're just alligators everywhere. And either they're not hungry or we're all stupid.
I think we're all stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, there's pictures of people. There's an alligator right next to you.
Yeah.
If they were better tasting, there wouldn't be a problem with these things. But they're not. They're not good eats.
Right.
Speaking of good eats,
All right.
Joey Chestnut. You know him,
Yeah,
right?
sure. He's the competitive eater guy.
He is the competitor eater guy.
Goes by the name of Joey Chestnut.
Joey Chestnut
That's him.
holds more competitive eating records than any other athlete in history.
His mom must be so proud.
He has titles in almost 50 disciplines, including gyoza, gumbo, pizza, chicken wings, and of course, hot dogs. So, Joey Chestnut has now introduced a new line of condiments. Classic boardwalk coney sauce, spicy firecracker mustard, and deli-style mustard. And what's cool about this is all purchases made from now through July 6th get donated to
The American Heimlich Society.
Elizabeth Dole's foundation, Hidden Heroes.
Oh.
All going to a military charity.
You know, I think we should do a good works for charity. I threw out the name of some cancer organizations you can donate to if you like to. But I will admit that if I go down the condiment section and I see Joey Chestnut's comment, I'll probably buy them.
Yeah, me
See what
too.
it's about.
Well, they're available starting yesterday. So they're in stores now. And like I said, goes to charity, which is very cool. The charity Danny was talking about, by the way, and why we're talking about it, the Susan G. Komen Foundation, which is komen.org, the American Cancer Society, whose website is cancer.org, talking about this because Danny's sister was diagnosed with cancer, losing her hair due to chemo, and Danny is going to support her by shaving his head on the show tomorrow at 9 o'clock.
Nervous a little bit,
A
man?
little bit. I wasn't when I opened my big mouth and said, you know what, Celia, and she hadn't even lost her hair yet.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking all the way through. I said, if you lose your hair, I'll lose my hair with you. And then she lost all her hair. Oh.
You just showed us a picture, and she looks fantastic.
Yeah, she looks good.
Completely bald. So this is a really nice thing you're doing to support
I'm a
your
sweetheart of
sister.
a guy. Not that many people get that about me. I'm like adorable. So 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, I become even more adorable.
Yeah,
and
just a
less
hair
deplorable.
over 24 hours. And of course, people can watch
A
it
hair
live.
over? Did you
Just
mean
a hair
that?
over 24 hours. People can watch it live on our Facebook page. And there's a replay on Danny TV on the YouTube page.
Thank you.
Yeah, the little woman's coming in. My lovely wife is coming in. She's going to do the shaving head on us.
She's going to do the deed. Does that make it worse? Like, are you more
She's not going
nervous?
to do the deed. She's going to shave.
Whatever. Well,
yeah. But I don't know that anything makes it better and or worse. It's the weirdest thing that I ever just said, yeah, okay, I'll do that. It seems nice, so I'm going to run with it, man. But it was odd to say, okay, I'll do that. But I will do that.
News this morning brought to you by Evergreen Speedway. We need to take a very short break, but back with music news, entertainment, and sports.
Oh, I almost swallowed a bit. That's my countdown clock.
yeah, time is ticking away.
Time is ticking away.
We're
in
now
case
under 24 hours.
You haven't heard, very recently, my sister came down with a touch of the cancer, and all her hair fell out from chemotherapy. And by the way, she sent me a picture, which I gave to Toy with her. I called it her big, beautiful, bald head. Was that a mistake to go that way?
Big's not always the best.
Yeah, maybe not big.
Not big, but it's her
bald
head. It's not like her head gained weight. She's a girl. Anyway, my little sister, she's bald, and I'm going to shave my head to support her, and it's a nice thing, and I'm actually quite happy to do it. It's just making me a little more nervous than I thought. So 24 hours from this very moment, on this very radio station, little head shaving for the Dooch Man. And if you would like to join in any way, shape, or form, you can. And by the way, you can go to the Susan G. Komen Foundation. That's Komen.org. Give a little if you want to. Or the American Cancer Society. Give a little at cancer.org. So that's tomorrow morning, right about now.
In music news, Iggy Pop has done something a bit unusual.
No, him?
2 years ago, Iggy Pop said, "Electronic music makes me want to die." And now he has announced an EP with English EDM duo Underworld. There's a new album coming out, or EP rather, July 27th, 4 tracks. Now, I don't know if you remember Underworld. They had a couple of big hits, but the biggest one was from Trainspotting.
Yeah.
Derek, do you have that song?
The original one?
Born Slippy?
The original Trainspotting?
Yep.
So these guys are no newcomers.
No. This was throughout the entire movie.
I absolutely know this.
All the dance clubs were playing it.
I get my electronic music from Underdog. I love that.
Well, they have decided to collaborate. He said he met them, and he met this guy, Rick Smith, who's part of Underworld. They talked about working together for the soundtrack for the second Trainspotting. And that's, remember, Iggy Pop's Lust for Life was a huge part of that Trainspotting movie. So they decided to collaborate, and would you like to hear it?
I would.
All right.
If I had wings, I wouldn't do anything beautiful or transcendent. No.
No.
It sounds like William Shatner, sort of like the singing, speaking.
I do all the beautiful things.
Now, is this the words they had already written, or did he write these words to their song?
They didn't really reveal much information about it, but typically Underworld does not have a lot of singing, so I'm going to guess it's Iggy Pop's words to their music.
In that case, it just got better.
Really?
Yeah. I didn't say it got great. Don't look at me like that, Paul. You have opinions?
It's not my cup of tea because it sucks.
Well, have you ever had a cup of tea? It's they're terrible.
I occasionally have a cup of tea, but this is not it.
It pretty much goes on and on of him telling a story about how he wishes he could still smoke on airplanes. So I think Iggy Pop wrote this.
Yeah, it sounds like Iggy Pop to me. All right. And by the way, everybody wishes they could smoke on airplanes, except people who don't smoke.
Right. And even some people who used to smoke. I want to smoke on an airplane.
It was crazy that you could smoke on planes. You could. They had ashtrays if you fly. It lets you know how often new planes come out. There's ashtrays in the bathroom.
Right. Seriously. Well, y'all remember the band Smash Mouth?
Yeah. I liked them too, as I remember.
Well, a lot of people don't admit that. But, they did have a bunch of hits.
Yeah, this is a great song. Your mom, or whatever they sing. You're a rock star. You're my sister. Get paid, or whatever it is,
A lot of people have long believed that the lead singer of Smash Mouth, a guy named Steve Harwell, and Guy Fieri are the same person.
Totally true.
You think so?
Yeah, absolutely. I've never seen him in the same place at the same time. Have you?
I certainly have not.
Well, they must be the same guy.
Right.
That's the common belief.
But I've never seen you and Guy Fieri in the same room at the same time.
Yeah, but we don't look anywhere alike. They look exactly alike.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to look when I get home.
You're the big weenie.
Yeah.
They always say stuff about big weenies.
Yeah.
All right, here's the deal.
I'm a ding dong.
All good.
Guy Fieri.
The super duper weenie wagon.
Just making sure he wasn't playing anymore. All right, so Guy Fieri and Steve Harwell, people have long believed they are the same person because they had never been seen in the same place before.
Right.
That's right. That's what I just said.
Until now.
That is what you said.
The conspiracy theory can finally be put to rest after Guy Fieri crashed a Smash Mouth concert.
By concert, you mean show in some room.
They were performing at the county famous Sonoma Marin Fair in California.
That's actually a big fair.
It's a big deal. And there are pictures of the two of them together. They look like twins separated at birth.
First of all, it's not that big. It's fair.
You're the big weenie.
Yes.
So did he take the mic and start singing?
They
That'd
took
be
a
awesome.
lot of pictures together that you can see them online.
Hey, now, you're a weenie with a hot dog. Get paid.
And everyone is just stunned that the two of them managed to exist in the same place at the same time without collapsing the universe.
And do they really look alike?
It's insane.
Because a lot of times when you think
Identical.
people look alike and then you do see them together, you go, oh, it wasn't that true.
So the lead singer of Smash Mouth took a picture of him like hugging Guy Fieri backstage because he wanted to make sure nobody was going to try to claim it was a hologram.
Oh, yeah,
That's funny.
And my favorite show of all time, as you well know, is NCIS.
Yeah.
And Wilder Valderrama has signed 2 deals with CBS, one of which will keep him on that show with Mark Harmon.
Oh, I had no idea he was on that show.
Yeah, I didn't know either.
Yes, to the last 2 seasons.
Was I on that show?
No.
Oh, all right.
The last 2 seasons, he has played Agent Nick Torres, and he's been great. Really,
Wow.
really funny role.
So he can go back to dating teenagers if he stays this famous.
Well, Wilder Valderrama's first deal was to come back to NCIS, and the second deal is to develop projects for CBS.
Wow. I
Pretty-
hate him.
Pretty big deal for him.
I do. I hate him.
Oh.
A lot.
Because you hated him before or
No,
forgetting this?
network deals to come up with stuff like that, a signing deal.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Makes you a cool guy.
Yeah. Well, speaking of TV, Sean Spicer might be entering the TV business.
Really?
President Donald Trump's former spokesperson is teaming up with the people behind The Wendy Williams Show and American Chopper to develop a talk show called Sean Spicer's Common Ground.
Okay. I see it.
I mean, I thought he was a surprisingly good sport especially after he left the job, but I didn't think he was like, let's give this guy a show.
Well, the premise is Sean Spicer would interview notable people in an informal setting. Not like in between two ferns, but it would be real talking to people.
I'll check it out.
Yeah, I'll check it out, but it doesn't seem like my cup of tea again.
Right.
But I think it'll probably go for a little while.
We shall see. Duchess Meghan is making history. She has been nominated for a Choice Style Icon at the 2018 Teen Choice Awards.
Kind of no.
Well, she did get her start as an actress, and she is a style icon.
Yeah.
Already.
Right. I was thinking like she was real stylish at her own wedding, and maybe it's some other prince's wedding. But, you've got to be an icon a little longer than an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Well, since she got engaged, or really since she got together with Prince Harry, every single time she goes out, she has to look exactly right.
I wonder if he starts dressing her from early on. Because it's
definitely.
expensive.
Or people do, yeah.
People
I
do.
meant-
They tell
I didn't mean
her.
him literally. Of course
No,
he's dressing her.
he's go
But-
picking it up.
No, but
Absolutely.
you got to have your people saying, listen, we can't possibly go to Baskin Robbins with you looking like that.
And as far as how long it takes to become an icon, these are Teen Choice Awards, so she's been an icon half their life.
Right, okay.
The other people that Meghan Markle is going up against, Blake Lively, Chadwick Boseman, Harry Styles, Migos, and Zendaya for the Style Award.
I like the Zendaya guy or girl.
Girl, she was on that show, what was it called? With Puff Daddy as one of the judges. And we love that show. The music
Four.
show. The Four, yeah.
Challenge! God, we are the noisiest show on radio.
The Four, yeah. And that, or she had a very similar name to that person, and I just made that up.
No, I think
one
you're
or the
right.
other.
I heard Derek saying
What's her name?
that
Iggy
you're
Azalea? What is it?
Zendaya. She was the
Close
chick with
enough.
the dreads.
Yeah, no, I'm in.
Looks like Russell Crowe has a new role. He will be doing a project for Showtime where he'll be playing Roger Ailes from Fox News.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I want to see that.
8-episode limited series all about Fox News founder Roger Ailes, the good, the bad, the ugly.
They were going to do.
He was. I'm entertained, for God's sake. But Roger Ailes was bald, right? And then he lost his hair right afterwards.
Yeah.
But he was bald, so you get to see maybe Russell Crowe shaving his head. Because I say if you get hired to do more than 1 week bald, you should shave your head and not have to do all the makeup stuff.
Property from the estate of late comedian Jerry Lewis sold for much more than expected at auction. This was the King of Comedy's auction that took place at Planet Hollywood. Some of the watches sold for 10 times more than expected, like his Cartier London Oval Maxi Variation watch, $51,000. Another Cartier watch sold for $75,000.
Crazy.
He had a French Legion of Honor medal, and that sold for $25,000.
Because the French can't get enough Jerry Lewis.
The estimate was $1,500, and somebody
For
paid
those watches?
$25,000.
Wow.
For the Medal of Honor.
My goodness.
A 14-karat yellow gold money clip given to him by Lou Costello in 1953 sold for over $10,000.
Yeah, I'd kind of want that.
Yeah.
The custom-made tweed burgundy suit he wore as the Nutty Professor sold for $13,000. I mean, who's buying all of this Jerry Lewis memorabilia?
Well, I can see it. I can't afford it.
Big fan.
But I can see it.
And a trio of Jerry Lewis's driver's licenses sold for $3,520.
Wow. Were his cars up?
Cars, no, but those guns those all sold for boat tons. Everything sold for more than expected.
Imagine getting shot with a Jerry Lewis gun. This is too weird.
Let's take a look at sports.
Sports
Brought to you by Bradley Johnson Attorneys. If you're facing a DUI, call 1-800-DUIOA. That's 1-800-DUIOA. Mariners, Baltimore last night. Heck of a game. Felix Hernandez pitched awesome, and they beat the Orioles 5-3.
Woo.
Action resumes today, 4:05 start time on Root Sports with James Paxton versus Baltimore's Kevin Gausman. And Nelson Cruz was named American League Player of the Week yesterday. He had a great past few weeks.
Yeah.
Hit 500 from the span of June 19th through the 24th, the highest mark in the American League over that stretch.
Nice.
Congratulations, Nelly. The Storm play the Minnesota Lynx 5 o'clock, and World Cup action. Yesterday, Saudi Arabia beat Egypt, Uruguay beat Russia, Iran tied with Portugal, and Spain was tied with Morocco. Action today. Derek, what do we have happening?
So earlier today, Peru was victorious over Australia 2-0, and Denmark versus France. That was an exciting match. It ended in a tie, 0-0.
Oh.
That's actually good for both of them. That means they both move on.
Oh, okay, good.
And there was a little worry that they were going to throw that game and both of them just not try and, because if they ended in a tie, no matter the score, then they would both move on. So there was really no incentive for either of them to play.
Gotcha.
Except some sort of pride.
Yeah.
You can't just go out and do that.
I mean, I guess a little incentive in that if you win your group, then you play a lesser opponent versus if you take second place.
Okay. Because I've always said this when I was going to fight somebody. And I would always say, of course, I'm going to win. I'm going to kick this guy's ass. I almost always thought I was going to lose. Almost every single time I thought, this guy's going to knock me down in front of people.
Upcoming matches, Nigeria versus Argentina and Iceland versus Croatia. Both matches are at 11. And it looks like the third time was the charm for James Harden. The Houston Rockets star was voted the NBA's most valuable player after twice being runner-up. James Harden beat out four-time winner LeBron James and Anthony Davis of the Pelicans at the NBA Awards last night. James Harden joined Michael Jordan as the only players to average at least 20 points, 8 assists, 5 rebounds, 1.7 steals in a season.
Oh, hug.
Congratulations, Hardy, as I like to call him. And your sports this morning brought to you by Bradley Johnson Attorneys at 1-800-DUIOA. On the show tomorrow, a lot of action going on. At 7:20, your tickets to see John Fogerty on July 19th. At 7:50, we will get a joke from Jelly Bean.
Yeah, always one of my favorite parts of the show.
Paul's hilarious daughter. And then at 9 o'clock, Danny gets his head shaved.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
That's exciting.
It seems weird when you say it. Yeah, it is. I don't know that that's necessarily a positive about it. I got like full on, what are they in your stomach? Butterflies.
Yeah. Imagine how your sister feels.
I imagine. Well, she feels terrible. She's having chemotherapy and she has cancer. Of course, she feels bad.
Yeah,
but
you
she's
should
not
at least
here.
be a little bit nervous so that you can feel, that sympathy.
Thank you. I feel a lot of sympathy.
Right.
Is what I feel.
So join us tomorrow for the show, please.
Yeah. I'll tell you, who I shave my head in support of would also be the guy with the best hair in the building, and that would be Steve Slayton. I know you thought I was going to say you, Paul, but I did not. I said my friend Steve Slayton is going to saunter in with his perfectly coiffed do, and he's going to play a lot of classic rock for you because that's what that man does. I'll get out of his way, so will we. Bye.